Load up. And now attempting to me try to remember what we last succeeded and try to find the rest, the next part. Mm. Oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure this one was it. I was just kind of like, try this, and then, okay. The strange medicine that I can hardly remember was a capsule. Maybe it was an oval tablet. It was so red. It must have been a capsule. I can't imagine a tablet in that color. Must have been a capsule. I think it was a little bigger than a normal one. I think. I think this is Reyna. I think. Can't remember. Can hardly remember. If I see that medicine again, it'll refresh my memory. That medicine strips away humanity. Takes away human soul, memory, emotion, and it numbs the human body. There are no thoughts, no interests, no will to stay awake or asleep. Was forgetting the game audio. At least I remembered within the first 15 minutes of stream. There's no sense of time. Sometimes a second can feel like an eternity. And other times I can almost see an hour hand move. Either way, there's no emotion involved. I can't feel any emotion. The medicine only lets me stay in bed and look up at the ceiling. Only the people who have taken it can understand this misery. What's more scary is that, when I'm on the medication, I don't realize how scary it is. I'm given the medication daily and I keep losing all my senses. So when the medicine wore off by accident, I realized I should never take it again. And that's right. This isn't medicine that will heal me. It's just going to kill me slowly. If I continued to take this medicine, I probably wouldn't be able to tell if I was dead or alive, and I would end up losing myself forever. I'll keep looking up at the ceiling without any emotions and keep watching the clock tick forever. If I take the medicine again, I'll lose all the senses I finally regained. I may never be able to bring myself back again. Since the day I realized that, I've been pretending to take the medicine, but throwing it away instead. If your doctor prescribes medication, you have to finish taking it even if your symptoms are gone. I can hear my mother's voice. Time I went to the doctor's office when I was a child, my mother said that to me. I usually got well before I finished all the medicine, so I didn't finish taking the rest. And that's why my mother said that. But this is a different type of medicine. I don't even remember how old I was when my mother said that. With this strange capsule in front of me, I have to try and get rid of my mother's voice from inside of my head. I pressed down on my head with my elbows until it hurt, trying to get rid of what my mother kept telling me. Right. As my head clears, I start to remember the ugly side of my mother. My mother betrayed her family. Okay, yeah, it's Reyna. She betrayed me and my father, waited for her at home with dinner on the table. She told us she was busy with work, she was having an affair. It's bad enough, but she asked my father for a divorce after he took such good care of her for so many years. But there's something else I can't forgive her for. She invited only me to meet with her new family. Not my father, just me. My father and I are family. Family means being together. Yet my mother tried to destroy the bond between my father and me. Not only had she destroyed her bond with him, she tried to destroy both my bond with him too. When I remember, Makes me feel angry and hateful, and I can't forgive her. The back of my eyes start to hurt, and I could feel the hatred on my face. That overflowing animosity is aimed not only my mother, but also the man she had an affair with. The man she had an affair with. Uncle Akihito. I didn't like him teasing me, but he gave me an allowance and tried to have fun with me. I liked him very much, but his niceness was all calculated. He wanted to destroy the family bonds between my mother, my father, and me. That's why I shouldn't have said I liked him very much. That's right. Starting to remember and understand. I know my true enemy. It was his fault that my mother started to have an affair. Because my mother was a very good mother. He was the one who made her a bad one. So he's the only one who deserves the blame. When was the first time I met him? I think it was the time when my mother and I went out and had lunch at a restaurant. She introduced him as one of her colleagues from work. At that time, if I think about that first meeting, I think I felt something wasn't right with the way my mother acted around him. That's right. I did think something was wrong. It didn't feel right. I wish I trusted my instincts then. I was a fool to think he was a nice person just because he gave me a strawberry from his piece of cake. It was not my father's fault, because I bet he never met Uncle Akihito. But I have. I met him many times, and there were a lot of chances to realize he was my enemy. If I had a strong enough will to protect my happiness, I could have noticed that. I can't forget how my father looked on that day. My father, who was so nice and gentle, grabbed his knees so tightly and cried so hard. He asked me if I knew Uncle Akihito. I answered yes. Then he slapped me in the face. When he slapped me, I finally realized how stupid I was for being taken in by him. That's right. It was my fault. I destroyed the happiness I'd hoped was forever with my own hands. If it hadn't been that stupid, my father wouldn't have had to cry like that, and my mother would have stayed good. If I wasn't that stupid, it was my fault. I can't forgive my mother and Uncle Akihito. Even when I hate him this much, I will call him uncle, and I can't forgive myself for that. It was my fault. Everything was my fault. I was too stupid and foolish, and that's why this happened. I hate her, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I can't stop being angry. If my mother ever came back to this house, I would rip her apart with my hands. But she never came back. My anger turned towards everything that my mother left in the house. I destroyed every relic my mother left behind, one after another. I threw and smashed everything, but that still didn't calm me down. Even after I turned the whole house upside down, I still couldn't calm my anger. Where does my anger gather? Starts from inside of me, goes through my arms to my fingertips, and spurts from my nails. Where else can it go? So my nails aim at my own body. My body is the filthiest and most disgusting thing of all. I'm the one to be blamed. I'm not to blame. My mother's most at fault. My mother's the most corrupt. My body and soul feel filthy. I want to stain myself black and slice the remaining flesh into pieces. One day I finally realized there are tons of maggots in my blood. I'm rotten from the inside. Come on, rot more. It's indescribably itchy. It's itchy, 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 itchy. Stab my thigh with a razor blade in the bathroom. The blood flowed out. Reddish black maggots spilled out. I forced myself to open my blood vessels with my thumbs. The maggots spilled out. Squirm, 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 squirm. Squirm, squirm. Squirm, squirm. A maggot spilled out from my left thigh. My right thigh must have had the same amount of maggots in its blood vessels. Maybe my calves too. My arms, abdomen, chest. No. Many maggots are there in the blood vessels in my neck. Strangely, although I've become rather insane, there is still a part of me that is calm. If I keep ripping myself apart like this, I'll end up dead. But everything is my fault, and I'm the one to be blamed. And if I blame my mother, the only way I can disgrace her is with my own body. Oh, I get it now. It's the best means for quelling my anger. I feel like I'm thinking incredibly rationally now. In order to forgive myself, I need someone else to blame. It has to be someone else's fault. No such person exists. No matter how much I think about it, or how I twist the logic, my own body is my only outlet to vent this anger. So long as there's no one else to blame, I'm forced to rip open every blood vessel in my body. Just like how no matter how much I scratch, it still itches. No matter how much I rip apart my own body, it's not enough. The blood is all over the bathroom. Sure, it makes for quite the gruesome scene. Although I'm trying to stay calm, I can't ignore the sharp pain that runs through my body. Maybe because I've lost so much blood, or maybe because I'm naked in the bathroom, I feel freezing cold. My whole body is throbbing, and my heart is beating so fast. I'm cold and hot at the same time. I'm also sad, angry, and in pain. I want to find something that lets me forgive myself. Then, it came. It came in a heavenly light. It was mysterious and real, like something out of this world. It apologized. It kept apologizing. Why is it apologizing? You apologize when you're at fault. So this thing I met for the first time was admitting to wronging me. That means I'm not at fault. It's at fault, not me. Ha. Ha ha. I dropped the razor blade. Fell into the puddle of blood. The pain is taking over my body. The pain of ripping apart my own body is taking over me. I've been telling myself this pain is the punishment for what I've done. But I'm not at fault. It is, so I don't need to accept this pain as a punishment. So I don't need to defile my body anymore. She continued apologizing to me over and over as I stood there covered in fresh blood. She apologized ever I wanted to blame myself constantly whispering that it wasn't my fault. Oyashiro-sama exists. She is always following me. Can she see Hanyu? Slap, 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 slap. Every time I can't endure the guilt, she apologizes and tells me I'm not at fault. Everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro. Things started to go wrong when I broke the rule that I wasn't supposed to leave Hinamizawa. I finally remember. When I moved from Hinamizawa, one of my neighbors gave me a charm. Said that if I left Hinamizawa, I'd be cursed, so I had to take the charm. That's right, she gave me a charm. Had some complicated writing on it, but I haven't seen it since I moved here. I may have lost it. There's nothing I can do about that. If Hinamizawa residents leave Hinamizawa, they'll be cursed. My mother and I, even Uncle Akihito too, may have gone insane because of the curse of Oyashiro. Nobody was at fault from the beginning, because everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro. Nobody is at fault. Nobody. Finally able to forgive everything. The anger that I couldn't get rid of even after I destroyed everything, including my body and soul, is finally gone. Father, now I know. Voice of Oyashiro. Bleh. The curse of Oyashiro is what caused my mother to leave, and for you to be sad. You remember Oyashiro, don't you? The guardian deity of Hinamizawa? That's right. People of Hinamizawa aren't supposed to go to the outside world. That's why Mother went insane. It's all because of the curse of Oyashiro. If we had stayed in Hinamizawa, we would have been happy. Oyashiro came to me and told me that. Come to think of it, Oyashiro has been trying to tell me that for a long time. After Mother left, I didn't know why she left or how to express my anger. Oyashiro has kept following me ever since then to let me know that. She followed me everywhere. the sound of her footsteps echoing behind me, but I pretended I didn't notice her. So stupid. I didn't hear her voice until I slashed my body all over. Only I'd listened to Oyashiro's voice. I bet she started warning me once Uncle Akihito came into my life. If the whole family had gone to Himizawa, my mother wouldn't have had an affair. We would have been happy there. I bet Oyashiro has been trying to tell me that. That's right. She must have been trying to warn me ever since we left Hinamizawa. She was always with me. She followed me everywhere. I was stupid trying to pretend I didn't notice. Everything was because of that stupidity. If I had noticed Oyashiro-sama's voice, my family wouldn't have suffered from the curse. It's all my fault. Urshira is apologizing. She keeps apologizing, which means this is all her fault. So this isn't my fault, is it? Because this is the curse of Oyashiro, right? She's apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oyashiro is apologizing repeatedly. So I'm sorry too. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't hear your voice. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We're from Himizawa, so we have to keep hearing your voice. Shiro definitely exists. Do you hear, Father? Don't you see? Oyashiro's right there apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. Come on, Father, let's apologize too. Mother, you don't have to apologize. You should die because of the curse. I hate you, Mother, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Myself for being your daughter. These maggots are your fault, they make me itch everywhere. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I don't want that medicine. My mother got it to kill me, so I don't want it. I won't take it. I told you I won't take it. Stop. This is a curse. You can't fix it with medicine. You won't get rid of the maggots because this is a curse. I don't want a shot either. Stop. It hurts. Everything is falling into a gray world. Voices of my father and the doctor sound so far away. Even what just happens seems like it happened a long time ago. Again, I'm given the capsule, and even my memory from a minute ago is gone. I'm back in my bed, staring at the ceiling. All I can see, the only thing that interests me is the hand on the clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I follow the minute hand as it goes around quickly, the hour hand as it goes around slowly. I see other things too, but they keep going through the same motions, just like the hands on the clock. Sorry, it's my fault, I'm sorry. Shiro keeps apologizing. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm sorry. Tick-tock, tick-tock, I'm sorry. Repeating over and over constantly and nothing else. The chorus of Higurashi come in through the window during the night seems louder than usual. Okay. Maybe we should wrap up for now. I don't think you're in the mood today. That's not true. Sorry if I gave you that impression. Takano has been looking through the viewfinder, but I haven't seen her push the shutter at all. While she came along, I don't think she's in the mood for birdwatching. Takano has been depressed ever since the announcement of the new policies at the board meeting the other day. That's understandable. Her institute was created by her in the first place. It was created that she can devote her life to researching Hinamizawa syndrome. For all that to be tossed aside while being asked to wrap up work within a few years. Of course she's depressed. But she can't even fully spend the rest of the time left on research. Their funding was being cut in stages. And by the end, they'll barely be able to finish closing up, let alone research anything. I heard that she's the granddaughter of the late Dr. Takano. Her determination to finish her grandfather's research is what kept her going until today. Since everything has been going so smoothly until recently, the sudden change of the wind's direction must have been a total shock. The shift in people pulling the strings must be pretty serious. The board of directors was completely changed out, and she heard that people in projects influenced by the Koizumi faction are being restructured to set an example. The wind's new direction seems likely to remain for a long time. It's highly unlikely that the Koizumi faction will come back into power, so no matter what we say, it's almost impossible to expect the same kind of support from them. There's something we can do? Takano muttered. Fortunately, there isn't. There's nothing anybody can do. At first, the board talked about halting the research immediately, but after lots of convincing, they finally agreed to make it a gradual suspension over a few years. The people who helped us when the Area Institute was first created are the ones who managed that. Hehe. I see. It looks like the worst-case scenario. It's actually somebody else's hard-earned victory, huh? 3 years was the best we could do. I tried too, you know. I used your data to try and explain to the board how important this research is. Only 3 more years, huh? Maybe Takano doesn't understand how hard I tried to convince them. Because what she just said tells me the length of time left really doesn't matter to her. The important thing is that her research is being stopped. The fact is that I couldn't meet her expectations and made her feel disappointed. As a man, it kinda hurts. The best I can do at this point is to route as much funding as possible towards the research so that you can work to your heart's content for the few years we have left. Sorry. I can't do anything else. That's okay. If that's the best you can do, then I'm happy. Her words hurt me. She'd chosen different ones. But I think I would be asking too much from someone so heartbroken. I must be understanding of her pain at a time like this. Besides, I know how close she was to the deceased Koizumi-sensei. She even called him uncle. To her, his death is not just the start of a coup or a change of direction. She lost a person who was always looking after her. No matter how hard she pushed herself to act villainous, she wasn't supposed to be part of this world. She was just an ordinary woman. When she was intrigued by Hinamizawa syndrome, and she had to find help from someone who had more power than her to be able to continue research on it. The dark side of the world she should never have gotten involved in, extended its hands out to her. She was left all by herself in that world, and she's still trying to put on a brave face. Sure, Takano thinks I'm unreliable. Realistically, I'm not the kind of person who can meet her expectations, nor do I have the power to. The least I can do for her is to stay sincere and remain her ally until the very end. Since she had so much room to act, it's harder for her to determine what actions to take when she's cornered. I want to believe she wouldn't, but I'm concerned that she might do something drastic eventually. I hope I can be of help to her in that very final moment before she makes her move. But I can't even gain enough trust from her to do that. How pitiful and pathetic. Worst part of it is, as a man, I want her to rely on me. But that's not really it. She's been abandoned in this world and is all alone, so somebody has to be her ally. If I'm the only one who knows about that, then being her ally is my job. I know her too well, so I know that she'll never ask for help. Even if she says it's unnecessary, someone has to be with her, I know that. I don't really think I'm suited for that job. I'm sure there are many reliable people out there who are more appropriate for the position than me. But I can't let her be alone until that person appears. Takano-san. I know I'm pathetic and unreliable. What's this all of a sudden? What is it, Shiro-san? But I think I can be of help to you. So, thank you. But I don't believe that talking to people helps you feel better. Sorry. I'm happy to hear that you're concerned, I really am. Okay. That's fine. I'll always be on your side. Please believe that, okay? Of course I will. If you think of a good idea to convince the board, please let me know, okay? Sure. I'll do my best. Why is it? I know she's such a strong person and there's nothing someone like me can do for her. But somehow, I feel she needs help and support right now. She looks as tough as ever, but only I, who has been taking pictures of her all this time, can tell. A viewfinder, after all, is also a window to look into someone's heart. But if I say something like that, she'll tease me again, so I won't. Anyway, I never thought she needed support more strongly than I do right now. Okay. Oh, we can do this now. Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Who are you? Sorry. We just moved in next door. We're here to introduce ourselves. Pleased to meet you. Oh my. Someone as young as you moved here. I see. Welcome. Mom, our new neighbor is here to say hello. Don't yell like that. Thank you for taking time to come over. They're the Ryugu family. They just moved into the empty house next door. Ah, you're Reina-chan, aren't you? My, how you've grown. Haha. Yes, I'm Reina. Thank you for remembering. How? Mom, do you know her? Of course I do. You were living in Okonomiya then, so you probably don't remember. But they used to live next door. So you came back, huh? This village is better than the big city, isn't it? I don't remember much because I was so small when we lived here. I feel this is where I belong. You'll fit right in. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. There's no need to hesitate. Being unreserved is the rule here, after all. Yes. Thank you very much. I thought I'd remember some things if I walked around the village, but I still don't remember much. I do recall, however, the vivid breeze as well as the brilliant greenery. I don't remember the village, but I remember that this is my hometown. Red scars still remain on my body. They're hardly visible and I can't even feel them. Now that I'm back in Hinamizawa, sometimes I wonder who I was back in Ibaraki. In fact, I think I wasn't myself from the moment I left. And now, by coming back, I've finally regained my true self. I can hardly remember what I was like back in Ibaraki. But that's probably because of the red medicine. The medicines erased all of my painful memories. Maybe that was for the best. I just want to be forgiven back then. I couldn't forgive my mother. I couldn't forgive Uncle Akihito. And more than anybody, I couldn't forgive myself. I wanted someone to acknowledge that I wasn't at fault. I wanted to be forgiven. So Yoshiro apologized. She told me I wasn't at fault because it was the curse of Oyashiro. That's how I was able to forgive myself. I didn't have to die by tearing my blood vessels out of my body. I think people have to die because they become corrupted. That's why people try their hardest not to dirty themselves all their lives. But I'm still living, despite how dirty I am. I've been allowed to live. Is there still some filth left on me? Or am I clean? I don't know. The thing I know is that the me who lived in Ibaraki and the me who is here right now are two different people. I no longer feel the need to take responsibility by ripping myself apart because of the filth. After arranging some furniture and unpacking some boxes, we finally had dinner. Although I hardly remember Hinamizawa, my father remembers things very clearly. Though it was around when we lived here before. Watanagashi Festival has grown huge these days. It's held at the end of June. Watanagashi? I've never seen it myself, so I don't know too much about it. But supposedly people let cotton absorb the filth on their bodies and drift it down the stream. Absorb the filth? Can wash your filth down the stream, huh? Of course. It's our sinners. As we live every day, filth piles up on our bodies, supposedly. Once a year, we get rid of the filth by letting the cotton absorb it. We become burdened with filth and sin by doing something bad. Court sentences can settle your crimes legally, but that doesn't mean the burden of sin of the filth will just go away. In other words, hands can't erase human filth in this human world. Filth is something humans can't get rid of, and that's why we need a god from a different world to do that. That's what I thought. But I'm surprised to learn about Watanagashi. Human hands erasing human filth in the human world. Letting the cotton absorb the filth and drifting it down the stream. Means it's okay to live in this world. Tried to commit suicide because I couldn't forgive myself. Ichiro apologized to me and told me to come back to Hinamizawa. And now, here in Hinamizawa, there's this Watanagashi ceremony to get rid of filth. And this isn't just a coincidence. Hinamizawa is a place to wash away your filth. Forgive sins. It's a place of forgiveness. It's called a purification ceremony. I've heard of those before. Japanese culture is very strict about filth. You aren't allowed to remain in the spotlight if you accumulate too much. See, and that's the reason why politicians and company presidents resign immediately once people find out about their dirty deeds. You must leave the spotlight if you're filthy. But in a bad way, the filth is basically pushed onto someone else, and they are held responsible for it. Sins and filth must be removed. That's why people push them onto someone else and then try to get rid of the filth by sacrificing that person. That's the case. Every time that filth is created, people try to pass around responsibility for it. It's awfully hideous. It's almost like seeing demons in the human world. That's why we came up with the idea of letting the cotton absorb all the filth. By doing so, people can live without making someone else take on the responsibility, sins, and filth. Putting everyone's sins onto someone and then killing that person makes that person a sacrifice. Who wants to be a sacrifice? That's why they desperately push their sins around. A purification ceremony is about replacing the human sacrifice with a non-human one. The purification ceremony dramatically changed Japanese culture. Before then, people always believed someone had to become a sacrifice. In other words, even with filth, everyone can live without blaming someone else. Filth can be forgiven by a method other than death. Only an existence higher than humans can forgive them. I was forgiven by Oishiro and came back to this village. To Watanagashi, the purification ceremony that exists here. Letting cotton absorb the filth and drifting it away. There's no need for a sacrifice, so I've been allowed to live. The filth in me has drifted away. So the me that remains is no longer Reina Ryugu. If not Reina, then who am I? I'm not without filth with all the icky things, who am I? A name vaguely appears in my head. My new name that only removes one of the letters from Reina, but I think it's a cute name. All the icky things are erased and forgiven with the removal of that one letter. So my name is no longer Reina. My name is... Called the right one. My harsh and brutal days are still continuing without end. The situation between my aunt and Satoko remains the same. Okay, so it's Satoshi. My aunt yells at Satoko for no reason every night. Although Satoko cries, she still talks back to her. So my aunt's yelling goes on and on forever. Satoko's crying goes on and on, too. When Satoko sees me, she grabs onto me. She hides behind my back and tries to ignore my aunt's yelling. She always comes to seek my help. Sorry, just a second. Alright, I'm okay now. Satoko doesn't open up to anyone but me. So if I don't protect her, she'll be devastated. And that security is something our parents didn't grant to Satoko. I have to be the one to provide it. But every day, day after day, every time Satoko cries, every day, day after day, Satoko grabbed onto me while crying yesterday. I petted her head, but along with pity, a different emotion came to me. I wanted to grasp her head and smash her against the wall. What an unbelievably devilish and awful emotion. No. I can't think that. No, it's not that I can't think it. I just can't acknowledge that feeling. Since that day, there's been someone else inside of me. Someone's trying to eat me up from the inside and switch places with me. When Satoko begs for my help while crying, that person tries to make me spill out some awful and hateful words that are sure to damage Satoko forever. Leave me alone. Don't grab onto me. Go away. No, I can't. To prevent him from taking over my body, I clenched my stomach and drove him out. I managed to do that. But that wasn't it. That person is coming after me, trying to get back inside of me. I won't let such a scary thing get back inside of me. You know, there's no room to slip into my heart as long as I keep it held shut like this. So he stopped trying, and instead is following right behind me. He's waiting for me to let my guard down. When I walk, he walks right behind me. He's breathing down my neck. He follows me everywhere, and when I lie down, he stares down at me. He's waiting for the right moment to jump back inside of me, so he can hurt Satoko. It's been so hot lately. Maybe the heat is getting to me, and that's why I think things like this. I'm the only family Satoko has, so I'll have to protect her from my aunt for the rest of my life. And that's my eternal duty. Rest of my life? Forever? Do I really have to do that forever? Only Satoko. But I'm our only family. But it's because of my aunt. It's because of the villagers, too. It's almost Watanagashi. Some irresponsible people are saying that the curse will once again fall upon Hinamizawa. They're also saying it'll fall upon me and Satoko for sure. Maybe it's just my imagination, but lately the villagers expecting it are giving me especially sharp looks. I feel like I'll be killed on the day of Watanagashi. Of course, there's no reason why I would be killed, and it's just my imagination. Slap. Come inside of me. Satoko is my only sister and my family, so don't tell me those awful things. Slap. Stop. Don't come this way. Footsteps come right up behind me, and the hand touched me on the shoulder. Ah, oh, Reina. Are you okay? Are you? I must have been acting weird. Reina looked worried. Her name is Reina Ryugu. She just moved here and transferred to my school. Nobody remembers her, but supposedly she lived here in Himizawa a long time ago. In fact, she hardly remembers anything about Himizawa either. Since Mion is the only other classmate who is my age, I'm glad she's my friend. She usually carries on happily alongside Mion, but occasionally she shows more feminine consideration. Are you feeling okay? Do you want me to take you to the nurse's office? Do you? Thank you. I'm okay. Do I look sick or something? Yep. Her immediate answer made me realize I wasn't myself. Is it about Satoko-chan? Are you worried? No, that isn't it. She knows that my problem isn't physical but a mental one. This is just something I think to myself. But even though Reina seems like a very easygoing person, maybe she's more perceptive than she appears. Since I just transferred here recently, I may not be able to help much. But I can at least listen. Sometimes talking can help. Although she just transferred, she already knows quite a bit about me and my sister, and also about the situation with the villagers. But talking about it won't solve anything. Actually, if I talk about it, I'd feel like I'd be admitting to my weakness, which might give that person a chance to get inside of me again. You were so surprised just now. That's why I thought something really serious was bothering you. How? Oh, that, lately I feel like someone is following me all the time. Slap, 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 slap. I thought that was you. Sorry. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Footsteps? Following you? Eh? I I know those. I know those footsteps. Okay, a lot of stuff is coming together. Okay. I see. No, you don't need to do that. You're a promising member of the Hikimizawa Fighters. We'll save your spot, so you can come back anytime, okay? I don't know about that, though. No idea when I can come back, so I thought I should resign at least for now. Satoshi-kun says he wants to quit the Hinamizawa Fighters. But this is Irie. I know very well of Satoshi and Satoko-chan's situation, so I was expecting that he might say this. The relationship between Satoko and her aunt has gotten worse, to the point that it can be considered abuse. Someone from the child consultation center came. Of course, our aunt behaved herself. Then immediately after, her harassment turned even more vicious. According to the neighbors, the aunt's scolding and Satoko-chan's crying can be heard nightly, and sometimes it goes on past midnight. Satoko-chan's weak physical check-up results are slowly growing worse, and we're trying to keep her stable by increasing her medication. But unless her relationship with her aunt improves, she's sure to go terminal and sink into madness. Although she isn't the type to become deranged even at the terminal stage. She's the type who holds everything in, harboring her insanity and shut aside. Just like she pushed her parents off the cliff. 2 years ago, Satoko-chan may kill her aunt. Thanks to the mountain dogs, the incident was resolved as an accident, and Oishi stepped aside, although he's still suspicious. Oh. A raid. Raid. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the raid, Pyro. Welcome on in, welcome on everyone. On in. Let me... Hey. Let me give you a shout out. And you're last playing At Dead at Night. Oh gosh, recorder. The game on the clip. Oh, okay.
I still have like all my stuff.
Okay.
I don't have my...
I'm not familiar with that game, but did you had? I hope you had fun. Okay, it's a modern full bug. There's a bug flying around me. Sorry. FMV horror game. Okay, cool. That's cool. I got jump scared a bunch. Oh goodness. Well, I hope you'll be able to like chill now and don't have to worry too much about any jump scares or anything like that, except for this ooga booga. Jump scare. But anyway, I am Vert Cobalt. I'm a variety streamer. I do a number of different games, as well as right now we're doing the visual novel series Higurashi. We're on the last volume. Though tomorrow I'll be playing Yakuza Kiwami 2. Yes.
There's a dragon in my wagon, and I don't mean to be bragging.
Thank you very much for the follow, Whitlix. Thank you very much. Also, why did that go twice? Wait, now I have sound alerts. Okay. All my integrations and stuff are being very special recently. Because it was double fine. Well, this is true. Maybe Whitlix you'll get double enjoyment out of your viewing this evening. Indeed. Maybe, perhaps. Anywho, once again, thank you so much, Pyro, for the raid. I appreciate that. So feel free to sit back, relax. Get yourself some water or a snack or something, and enjoy the rest of the stream. If something like that happens again around Satoko-chan, be sure to investigate her mercilessly. I can't do anything more about Satoko-chan's environment changing for the worse. So I'm not surprised to hear that Satoshi wants to quit the baseball team so he can be with his sister more. Actually, I'm starting a part-time job. That's why I can't come to practice. A part-time job. Is there something you want to buy? Yeah. It's almost Satoko's birthday. There's a teddy bear Satoko has been looking at, and I want to get it for her. That's right. I remember the birthday date on her insurance card. I think it's June 24th, right after the Watanagashi festival. I see. You're such a good brother. I'm sure Satoko-chan will be thrilled. I hope so. I can tell Satoshi is also stressed out. To him, seeing Satoko-chan being harassed is the same thing as being harassed himself. His stress can be released through moderate exercise, such as with sports, and also with plenty of rest. If Satoko-chan is being yelled at nightly, well, it's easy to figure out that Satoshi isn't getting enough sleep either. I don't know what kind of job he's starting, but I don't think he'll be able to vent his stress on it. In fact, I don't like the idea of Satoshi taking a part-time job, because he's already so worn out in every way. I asked him if he wanted to help him pay for the present, but of course he declined the offer. It's a present from him, so he wants to earn the money himself. He's taking his part-time job only to earn enough money to buy Satoko-chan's present, so it'll be a temporary thing. It's for a short period of time, maybe it won't be that bad. Well, I want to stop him from working, because I don't want him to get even more stressed. Since he says Satoko-chan's birthday is near, I don't think I can stop him. Satoshi is determined. If I say any more, I may lose his trust. So I'll have to accept his leave of absence. Oh, Coach, can I maybe borrow a bat? I completely misunderstood his words. Later I found out he carried around that bat to protect himself, and realized that even then, he was already showing some dangerous symptoms. He believed there would be a fourth mysterious death this year, and that he would be the victim. He became obsessed with the idea that someone was after his life, and that is a symptom of Himizawa syndrome's terminal stage. But although I was involved so deeply with the syndrome, I was careless. A bat? What do you need a bat for? Satoshi had his own bat, so he should have asked if he could take it home, but instead, he asked if he could borrow it. When I think about it now, he said it that way to lighten his guilty conscience, but how could I have known then? Well, I can't come to practice. I think I'll have a little time to practice swinging on my own. That's great. Sure, please take it with you. But make sure you do it in an open space, okay? If it won't bother your neighbors, it's good practice to hit a hanging tire. Swinging a bat can relieve stress, so letting him take his bat home will help. That's what I thought. But that was a huge mistake. I realized it only when things were already past the point of no return. Things are picking up quite quickly. We're prepared to respond quickly this year. That was why we were able to start the investigation immediately after securing the crime scene. I bet this is Oishi. The victim is the wife of the younger brother of the Haojo couple, so she's an extremely suitable target for the fourth year's curse of Oyashiro. She has a horrible reputation among the locals. After the incident, everyone said she deserved to be cursed. I have a general idea of who the culprit must be. It's probably Satoshi Haojo. That innocent-looking kid. There's even a motive. Deceased abused his sister relentlessly, so this would be in revenge for that. Also, when he attended the inspection of the crime scene, he was rather frantic, yet also far too composed, as if he was totally unrelated to the incident. My intuition for many years of police work tells me that 8 or 9 times out of 10, someone who acts like that is the perp. I have no concrete proof, but if I question him and shake him up a bit, I have a feeling he'll confess. For the victim to be so beaten up, the culprit must have some blood on him as well. If we can find that, then we'll have proof. Unless he's a complete fool, I'm sure he's already gotten rid of it by now. If we can find any in the place he says he disposed it after he fesses up, then we can convince the prosecutor too. This is pretty insignificant as a standalone case. A confession from Satoshi Haojo would end it. Everyone except me must believe that. But if I look at it as part of the series of mysterious deaths, it won't be so easy. Neither the three families of the village, or the Sonozaki family alone is directly involved in this. If they're the ones pulling the strings, they must have instigated Satoshi Haojo into committing this crime. If so, Satoshi Haojo is someone who knows way too much about them. The Sonozaki family's action must remain hidden. If he could connect them to the crime, would they let him run around freely? Satoshi Haojo is a loving brother who cares very much for his sister, and they set him up to kill his aunt as the 4th year's curse. After that, they'll terminate the one person who can connect them to the crime. Satoshi Haojo is not just a simple criminal. He was set up. And after that, my suspicions were confirmed. Very abruptly vanished. He disappeared in such a puzzling way. He didn't run because he was afraid that his crime had come to light. Another culprit came into the picture. He was already arrested for a different crime, and furthermore, he died while in prison. He confessed to information only the culprit himself would have known. Therefore, he must be the culprit. But as he's already dead, the investigation was closed. Then Satoshi Haojo disappeared a few days after the festival. It's obvious someone doesn't want Satoshi Haojo to be connected to this incident. My boss put pressure on me to close the investigation, and to file Satoshi Haojo's disappearance as a separate incident. He's even handed the case over to a different section. The way this case is closing so rapidly greatly resembles the same trick used 2 years ago of the Haojo couple's accident. There's no doubt it's the work of someone who can put pressure on the police. As it happens, the Sonozaki family is the only one who can exact influence on the police department here in the Himizawa area. They may think their trails are covered, but this points towards them more clearly than anything. According to my informant, Aryo Sonozaki mentioned the 4th year's curse at the family meeting and hinted that she was the one behind it all. Hinting isn't strong enough evidence, but there's no mistaking that Aryo Sonozaki is the one pulling the strings. I know they're the ones who did it in the old man, but I just can't grab them. The principal offender is still on the loose, but I'm sure he's being sheltered somewhere by the Sonozaki family. I have to locate him, find that missing right arm. I'll return the arm to his grave and make the principal offender and the masterminds both bow down before it. However, just like how Satoshi Haojo disappeared, it's possible the principal offender has already been eliminated. I bet he's already been killed and buried somewhere nobody can find. If that's the case, then that's fine. I'll make the old bag who ordered someone to kill the old man slam her forehead on the ground before his grave. This, I swear. 4th year's curse, people are already saying something will happen next year. Even with all my preparations, I couldn't prevent the incident from happening this time. It's too late if something happens. I must keep my eyes on the core of the village before something takes place. There's a reason why I have to get to the bottom of this by next year. Because I'm retiring. My mother has been wanting to go back to her hometown in Hokkaido. For a long time, she's been asking me to move there when I retire. I feel that's the best I can do for her, so I agreed to move to Hokkaido when I retire. So next year is my last chance to avenge the old man's death. It happened 4 years in a row, so more than likely there'll be a 5th curse too. As a result of the deaths, the village has been tightly knit together since the dam protests. They were told that betrayers will be punished in the name of the curse. So the masterminds, there's enough reason to continue with the series of mysterious deaths. According to rumors, this year's victim, the aunt, was cursed because she didn't participate in the Watanagashi festival. Their villagers believe that if they don't participate in next year's festival, they'll be cursed. It'll be a huge festival next year. Something will happen. Series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as the Curse of Oyashiro. I'll avenge the old man. I definitely will. Lamau. You keep telling yourself that, buddy. You're too busy thinking the Sonozakis are the ones behind everything so much as a parking violation. That's how you ensure visitors threaten them with the curse. Exactly. Did you know Detective Oishi used, for a while, went looking at clouds? But he had to stop doing it because he kept on seeing Sonozakis everywhere he went. To shape the clouds, and yeah, that didn't work out that well. The fourth sacrifice. The village was in an uproar, because the fourth mysterious death in a row, which everyone believed would happen, actually did. Satoko's aunt was killed. All the villagers feel rather satisfied about this incident, saying the curse only fell on her for being a local troublemaker. But I know the truth. When I saw the beaten-up body at the crime scene, I knew Satoshi was responsible for it. Her abuse towards Satoko-chan was getting worse and worse. Satoshi wanted to protect her. So he brought home a baseball bat. All the signs were there. So I didn't even need to hear it from Satoshi. Yet I couldn't avoid questioning myself. I felt bad for the Haocho siblings, who had no one on their side, so I tried to be their ally. In the end, I failed to be any help to them. The phone rang. It was Satoshi. He's never called me before. What happened? Does he want me to help him? If so, I will. I truly feel that way. Hello, Coach? Sorry to bother you while you're at work. Oh, don't worry. What can I do for you? I can't think of anyone else who has a car. A car? Sure, I have one. I'm in front of a toy store in Okonomiya. Not the one owned by Mion's uncle, but the other one by the dentist's office. Sure, I know where it is. I found a teddy bear for Satoko's birthday, but it's too big to put on my bicycle. Too big? Huh. Satoshi, how big is this teddy bear? I guess he didn't think about it and went to the toy store on his bicycle. Now he's stuck. That's so typical of him. I can't help but smile warmly. In other words, he can't carry both the bicycle and the teddy bear, so he wants me to come pick him up. I told him I'd be right over, and headed to the toy store in Okonomiya. When I got there, I found the teddy bear he bought. It's a lot bigger than I imagined. I want to ride my bicycle, I want to ride my bike. I want to ride my bicycle. To ride it where I Oh my. This is huge. There's no way you can put this on your bicycle, huh? The teddy bear is so big that Satoshi can hardly wrap his arms around it. If he puts it on his lap in the passenger seat, he won't be able to see anything. We loaded the bicycle in the back seat and stuffed the teddy bear in the trunk. My, it must have been expensive. Yeah, I guess. First I thought he was sweating because of the heat, but he's acting oddly. As if he has a high fever and his consciousness is coming and going. What's wrong? Are you feeling okay? I guess. Well, I think I have a cold. Oh. It's hitting me. Oh, no. Oh, no, Satoshi. Run away. Run away. That's not good. Do you want to swing by the clinic? I'll give you a checkup. Thank you. We called earlier. He didn't sound this way. When the acid drops. Yeah. Yeah. I did have kind of a reaction there, sort of like that. Honestly, I guess the better way to put it on my reaction is, it was more like, let's see this, more of a moment. Why don't you put the seat back? Is it too cold? Are you okay? His face is turning pale. I can tell he has a high fever. Satoshi was pushing himself to buy this teddy bear. Teddy bear this size can't be that cheap. For him to earn enough money in such a short period of time, he must have worked hard and long hours. We feel relieved now that he got the teddy bear he had wanted to buy. It's not unusual for a person to collapse after reaching his big goal. I'm proud of you for earning enough money to buy such a huge teddy bear. Satoko will be so happy. I hope so. I'm sure she'll be. I guarantee it. Our aunt is gone. Our uncle isn't coming back. There's nobody who can hurt her in any way anymore, right? That's right. There won't be anyone who can hurt her. So you can relax now. Our aunt is gone, right? She died, right? Yes, she's dead. Perform the autopsy. There can be no mistake. She'll never abuse Satoko-chan again. Are you sure? Did you really confirm that she's dead? Yes, I sure did. So, even if I see someone who looks just like her, it's not her, right? It's not like she was actually alive and recovered, right? No, that's not possible. She'll never come back to us. Then, look, that lady. She looks like her, but that's not my aunt, right? Right? Satoshi pointed at the oncoming car in fear. Of course, the car passed by so quickly that I couldn't see her face. No matter how much she looks like her, it's impossible for her to be alive. Look at her. She looks exactly like her. She even looked at me. Calm down, Satoshi. Your aunt is dead. So no matter how much she looks like her, it's not your aunt. Welcome in, Sophie. Thank you very much for the fluid check. She looks just like her. No, it must be her. That's my aunt. I killed her. I bashed her head in repeatedly. I can only try to stay calm and drive. Satoshi's losing his cool. He's delusional. He's seeing his aunt coming back from the dead. Then I finally realize Satoshi is displaying symptoms of the terminal stage. I need to examine him once I get to the clinic. It's different from Satoko's case. We already have the cure. We can treat Satoshi. If I talk to the mountain dogs, they'll take care of the murder of his aunt. So we can both save him from going terminal and give him back his peaceful days with Satoko. He was deranged until just a minute ago, but now he's gone quiet. He didn't fall asleep. I must get to the clinic while Satoshi remains in his calm state. There's no guarantee he won't attack me while I'm driving. As if he knows what is going through my mind, Satoshi spoke to me quietly. Coach, is this the curse of Oishiro? There is no curse. Please try to stay focused. Satoko, sorry. Just before I bought the teddy bear, I was thinking about running away. That's why Yashiro got angry. I'm a failure as a big brother. I'm... You don't need to say anything. Close your eyes and get some rest. We'll get to the clinic soon. Then I'll give you some medicine, okay? I feel like there are maggots in my blood. It itches. Don't scratch. Don't claw at your throat. We arrived at the back door to the clinic. I slammed the brakes and stopped the car. Satoshi has already started to claw at his throat. I can't stop him by myself. I asked for some help through the intercom. Some staff members came out immediately. Maybe Satoshi was surprised to see so many people at once, but because he started to resist. I don't even need to run tests, he's at L5. He's reached the terminal stage and his thoughts must be filled with delusions. Maybe he thinks that the staff members want to kill him. Staff members pinned his arms and legs down and gave him a shot to put him to sleep. Coach, please, help me. Don't worry, I'll make you better, so please relax. Coach, please, take care of Satoko. Please take care of Satoko. Saying those words, he fell unconscious. My, what's going on? Satoshi just suddenly displayed symptoms. Considering the amount of stress he's been under, it was just a matter of time. Maybe he was holding it back until he bought the teddy bear. It's interesting that somehow we always find a live specimen around Watanagashi. Do you think it's the curse of Oyashiro? Hehehe. I don't have time to listen to her nonsense. Okay. I don't know what to do. My name is Shiro Maibara, and I'm hopelessly lost. Oh wait, it's Keiichi's dad. I came to Miyazawa on a tour to find a lot for a vacation home. When the realtor finished explaining some details, he told us to take a walk until the departure time. Such beautiful scenery and fresh air. I let my senses guide me and, here I am. Where am I? I still have a little time before the departure, but I'm completely lost. This is basically the middle of nowhere, but people actually do live here. If I keep walking, I should run into somebody. Then I can ask for directions. Don't worry. The only thing I need to keep in mind is the departure time for the bullet train. But the more time passes, the more I start to think I was being too optimistic about running into somebody. Because I can't find anybody at all. Maybe I'm walking farther and farther from where people are, in which case I'm in serious trouble. So upon hearing someone's voice, I feel immensely relieved. Sounds like little girls are playing nearby. If it's a place where little kids can play, it must be a safe village. I followed those voices. Upon rounding the wild pampas grass, I can see a beautiful field. 2 girls are playing there. 2 girls are dancing in the field filled with blooming wildflowers. What I'm seeing is more beautiful than all of the great works of art I've ever seen put together. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but this looks holier than any religious painting. Why is it that seeing innocent girls dance around like this makes me feel this way? It's probably for sinners. Yet live with pleasure and glory alone. Sinned even as we live. That's why I feel all by the sight of innocence. It reminds us of the time when we were pure. We grow up naturally. We lose innocence as we do. We admire and adore the children who've symbolized what we lost. Meep. There's a suspicious person who's mumbling some weird stuff over there. Rika, that's not a suspicious person.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC.
Thank you. It was having that vibe a bit, especially the first part. When he first said, "Why does this make me feel?" They kind of let her like expelled a little bit. Then it was kind of like, "Oh, okay, see, all right." Sorry, I'm not suspicious. But you've been staring at my chest and legs. Nipa. No, I'm not. Don't turn me in. I really wasn't staring. I was using this mirror to fix my hair. Haha. I don't know what you're talking about. It sure sounds interesting. Like father, like son. Girls teased me for a while. When they got tired of doing that, they went back to dancing around. Wait. He can see Hanyu. I'm not sure what that means. That's right. She said the thing. Nipa. Realizing that whatever I said would backfire, decided to leave them alone and sit down to watch them play. I wonder how old they are. Seem rather young, but maybe they could be close to Keiichi's age. We move here. Keiichi might meet them at school. You would see them at school then. There were girls that lived here. If all the children in Himizawa are like them, then even if living a rural life may have some challenges, there's a good reason for us to move here. We're not very good parents. We didn't understand what Keiichi was going through, and left him alone until the very end. According to the parenting book I bought, first few problems are calls for help. It doesn't matter what the action itself is, but the fact that those actions are occurring is a primitive appeal from the child seeking communication. Humans can speak, and that's one of the reasons why we don't notice such signs. We can only hear words through our ears, and we can't sense the signs coming from our son's heart. Keiichi probably thinks it's all his fault. Of course, he's not absent to blame. Humans aren't dogs or cats. We should know what's right and what's wrong, but it's our fault too as his parents. Let him think that he had to go that far for us to be able to understand him is really pathetic and disappointing of us. If we had understood him and hadn't cornered him, Keiichi wouldn't have done that. So the incidents weren't only Keiichi's fault. Everyone in the Maibara family was to blame. I want to explain to him, but he's still too young and hot-headed to be able to understand. Right now, the guilt he's feeling is basically crushing him under its weight. He doesn't even have the will to live. My wife is the same. She's blaming herself for forcing him to study for better grades. She thinks that's why the incidents took place. And I'm no different. I'm blaming myself for not being involved in my son's education. I think that's why the incidents took place. The cross will be forever on our shoulders, even after the injured child accepts our apologies. Yet our cold society would tell us to die under the weight of that cross. Even so, we have to live. We have to accept our sins and carry our burdens on our shoulders. Maybe we can start a new life here in this village. I thought about all that as I watched the girls dance. Keiichi needs friends like them. Friends like those girls will offer him so much more than the friends who only talked about cram schools and exam results. Girls are playing near a sign that doesn't fit into this open field. It's a sign about lots for sale. The name of the realtor who brought me here for the tour is written on it. Does that mean we can live even in this beautiful area if we wanted to? One of the girls spoke as if reading my mind. This is a wonderful village, and lots of things you don't have in a big city. Yeah, that's right. I think so too. Gotta go, dinner. Okay, well thank you very much for your raid. I hope you have a good dinner, Pyro. Yes. Do we have anything? Sure you do. How? You've lived in this village for hundreds of years just like this. Comes to visit, nothing happens. So nothing ever changes. That what's good about this place? Did you come here because you wanted to change something? Yeah, you're right about that. We want new people to come here too. It's like breaking the dam that keeps the swamp water from flowing out. Water is purified by moving. It stays motionless, then it's just a swamp. In fact, this village used to be named after a swamp up until the Meiji era, but the name was changed to Hinamizawa. Water in the swamp stagnates because it doesn't flow. But the water in a stream stays fresh. Besides, we're all the ones who will teach us that. The dams can be broken, should be broken. Are they playing riddles with me? I have no idea what they're trying to say. There's one thing I know. The villagers are waiting for new people to come here. They want to build a future with those newcomers. I looked at the sign behind the girls one more time, so that I remember this place. Ori decided. We'll be waiting for you to move here, Maibara. Oh. There you are, sir. How did you get this far out? A raspy voice from the distance ended this innocent moment. It's the realtor. I guess he's been looking for me because I didn't return. Sorry about that. I got lost. I apologized while scratching my head. I turned around to look for the girls, but they weren't there anymore. Okay, thank you for the lurk, Sophie. Okay, I'll get going. Thank you. Don't mention it. Come back anytime, okay? Hi, I'm home. Hey, Uncle Hiroshi. Long time no see. Hey, Myeon-chan. Are you going home? I have to give my clients a ride. A ride? Oh, you're talking about your realtor business, huh? The Sonozaki family is one of the largest landowners here in the Hinamizawa area. However, since all the land is out here in the countryside, it just ends up sitting there. Recently, the land owned by the Sonozaki family was put on sale in lots. At the family meeting, some of our relatives opposed the idea by saying we shouldn't sell off that land that was handed down from our ancestors. But Granny snapped and shut them right up. Some of the unused fields were made into vacant lots and released for public sale. Actually, I had some questions about it too. The Sonozaki family is very wealthy. We have plenty of land as well as money. So why did we have to sell it off? What's more surprising is that Granny was the one who came up with the idea. I would have thought she'd get furious if someone ever even mentioned something like that. Okay. If you're ever near the station, be sure to stop by. I'll treat you to a cup of barley tea. Sure, thank you very much. So how is your business going? Surprised there are actual city folks who are interested. They must be those nouveau riche types. I swear I've used this term a number of times before. I've been able to pronounce it. Nouveau riche types who live in the big city. It also wanted a house in the countryside. Well, I guess some people are curious. There's one family seeking to move here, not purchase a villa. Said he wants to build a studio, so he must be an artist of some sort. Ah, that's great. Gosh, better go now. Supposedly he planned a tour to show them the lots, and he's the one driving the bus. It should be about time for the tour and explanations to end. He left in a hurry. Hey, can I ask you something? Well, why did you want to sell our land? You don't like newcomers. I don't like newcomers, and I don't like big city people either. But the village needs them. It's like ventilating a room. Is it good for the village to have new people move in? This is a wonderful village, but the world is changing quickly. The past, a very small change took 10 or even 20 years to happen. It was such a quiet and unchanging village. That's real life. This village, nothing is different from yesterday and today. It's too boring for me, though. But you made a ryugu, didn't you? Reina Ryugu-chan moved here. You got along great. You told me you were happy that you had a friend your age. Yeah, making friends unexpectedly is fun. I remember you saying that school is boring when Reina-chan is absent. Do you remember that? You saying that's the good thing about letting new people move here? No matter how cold it gets, you still have to ventilate your living space. Otherwise it gets filled with bad air and you'll suffocate to death. You open the window, even knowing the freezing cold air will come in. Letting outsiders move here is like ventilating the village? Sure. It lets fresh air in and gets rid of bad air like us. If I bring up the Houjo family, I know Granny will explode, so I won't. But I think what Granny is trying to say includes things like their ongoing isolation. Even now, she remembers about what happened at that explanatory meeting. She gets really upset. But I guess even she feels that she feels that needs to come to an end. But of course, she can't just say she'll forgive him. Not when she's at this stubborn age. She can't lose face by openly saying they need to be forgiven. Honestly, I think she's behaving like a little schoolgirl who actually likes a person but treats them rudely when they're around. Maybe people really do go back to being children when they get old enough. I'm not just talking about Granny. Same can be said about all the old people in the village. No, maybe I should say the evil around here. That must be what she meant by bad air. There's no use circulating the air in a closed room. Unless you open the windows and let fresh air in, the air in the room won't be purified. We don't know if there's actually going to be people moving here. But don't you think you're expecting too much from whoever does? Just Reina-chan moving here changed Yomion. Whoever moves here will change this village. Possible, I hope some young and energetic people who have the charisma to lead will appear. They need to be the ones to put us old people away into heaven. Are you thinking about Gramps? Damn you, nobody's thinking about him. Here, have the housekeeper put away the tea set on the veranda. Okay, I will. Mion. The day Aojo Satoshi disappeared. You came to me, huh? Yeah, I guess I did. Huh. That is what woke me up. This problem with the Houjo family. We can't just let time take care of it. We have to take care of it ourselves as soon as possible. But you can't do it yourself, so you're going to have an outsider take care of it. That's the best I can do. No matter how bad your hand is, the next card can change the flow of the game. So maybe it's a good idea to draw cards from the stack. Your generation will be a new wind. Let that new wind come from the outside, and you'll be the wind from the inside. When both winds create a gale, the gusts will blow away the stale air from the village. That's the epitome of leaving your problems to others. You're the one who started the fire, and you're trying to have your grandchildren take care of it. Oh, don't say that. As the new leader of the Sonozaki family, bring the new wind into the village. If you're saying that's my job as your successor, please, Mion. I'm too old. The thing I can do now is to be despised by people. The wind chime sounded quietly. Maybe that's a sign to let us know a cool breeze is on the way. The theme's back. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. This is the school? Yeesh, this really is the sticks. Keiichi, don't say stuff like that. People in this era love coming here. That was the first impression of the Hinamizawa branch school. No matter how I look at it, it doesn't look like a school at all. It even has a sign that says Hinamizawa Forestry Service. You're right. We're borrowing the building from the Forestry Service, said the man they called the principal as he laughed heartily. Though it doesn't look like it, it's in fact a school. The rules may be a little different from the ones you went to previously, though. You okay with that? Yes. I heard all the grades are put in the same classroom at the school. I didn't believe it, but I think it really is true. They're all younger than I am, so I guess it'll be like kindergarten. Although it'll be interesting compared to my previous school, where everyone looked the same age. If you transfer here, you'll be the oldest boy in the class. So you'll have to be a good role model for the younger students. Younger students have the tendency to copy bad habits from the older ones. I'll be keeping my eyes on you too, so make sure you're aware of that, okay? I understand. I'll do my best. Keiichi, what she means is that textbooks aren't the only things you learn from. As a member of the class and as an older student, you have to be a good example. I know that already. After that, Chie-sensei brought us to an empty classroom and showed me where my desk would be. Since we're all still growing, I'm sure our sizes are very different. There are some desks that are way too small for me to even put my legs under. Also some that are just perfect for me. There are approximately 30 desks in here, since all the different grades are in the same room. Sure, it's very lively. There's also a wall full of calligraphy and art from the different grades. It's all pretty exciting, nothing like my previous school. It reminds me of the days when I truly enjoyed my school life. Dad, I like it here. I like this school better than the other one in town. I think my son likes it here. I want him to go to this school too. I see. Well, Okonomiya has more resources and better teachers, though. While saying that, Chie-sensei looked happy to hear that a new student would be transferring into her class. My father and the teachers went back to the teacher's office to get the transfer process going. In the meantime, I decided to stay in the classroom and look around. I didn't care about the move. I'd lost the will to live because of what I did. I didn't have any willpower, and I couldn't even get out of bed. So when my parents told me about the move, I thought that wouldn't change anything. But after the move, something did change. I want to restart my life. I want to restart my life and become someone I've always wanted to be. Here in Hinamizawa and at this school, I can do that. I'm not going back to who I was. I'll never again think that good grades are the most important thing in the world. I have a feeling that I can learn the things that are really important in life here at this school. I never had the chance to learn them before now. It's almost embarrassing to put into words, but they're extremely valuable things. If you don't learn them, you won't become a decent adult. The students at the school learned them a long time ago. To them, they're a given. Yet I have to spend time learning about them even at this age. How to make friends. How to play with friends. To play. Things you can only learn from play. Things like socializing with others, etc., etc. It seems so easy, but it'll take me a while to learn them. I pushed those things aside and devoted myself to studying. I'm not trying to say studying isn't important, but you shouldn't become blinded by it. Someone says studying and good grades are the most important things in life, he's talking bullshit. So I can restart my life here at this school. Finally, I can become someone I've always wanted to. I noticed two girls looking at me in through the window. The schoolyard must also be playground for these children, because I saw a lot of them playing there earlier. I guess those two noticed me walking around the classroom and became curious. I guess that's natural. I'm a stranger to them. So I should say hello and let them know that I'm starting school next Monday? Finally. Waiting for so long. Oh. So it changed things. Because Keiichi is the 6 on the die. Yes, he is. But his die rolls a 1 far too often. It's not Keiichi's fault, though. It's all your fault, Hanyu. It's because of you. Apologize to Keiichi. Ow. Do you know my name? She said my name, didn't she? Did I hear her wrong? I've never met her before. Nipa! She said the thing! Hold on, I'll do it for free on me. There you go. You new student? Nice to meet you. I'm Keiichi Maibara. I'm starting next Monday. Take care of me, okay? How? Sure thing. Here's a message for you, Keiichi, the Shrine Maiden of the Furude Shrine. Your first day. Be careful when you come through the door to the classroom. Also, there'll be a thumbtack on the back of your chair. There'll be a toy frog in your desk, too. But even with this warning, you'll fall for it again and again. Your Monday is going to be disastrous, poor Keiichi. That's why it's fun. Why don't you try overcoming that fate sometime? Hehe. The one to teach us that. One of the many worlds, right? Huh? I'll be reminded of the prophecy made by the two girls next Monday, because of the actions of a snaggletooth girl. I realize it too late, though. But I like it here. My name is Keiichi Maibara. This is my new beginning, and this time I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. I have been missing out so much, but I'm going to learn all those things here. I'm going to absorb all of it, and I'll become someone I've always wanted to become. May take a long time, but I'll definitely do it. Wait. I think he saw Hanyu too. Is she just visible now? Grandfather's articles were trampled on. We have proof as clear as the pathogen causing Izawa syndrome. So why can't they believe in its life cycle? Because they'd never heard of that before? Because they can't imagine it. Because there's no way something so absurd could be true. Don't tell me that. I can't bring myself to care about the limits of those commoners' understanding. Why can't anyone believe the truth of my grandfather's article, which has been proven by the Irie Institute? Why do people continue to believe that humans are a special existence? Humans are simply a species of animal. Various parasites that control their animal hosts exist. Can people declare parasites that use humans as their hosts don't? Wait, this isn't the problem. Not at all. Has everyone believed my grandfather's article up until now? Isn't that why the Ministry of Health and the Defense Agency lent me their assistance? But out of nowhere they turned cold. In other words, every bit of their help was because Uncle Koizumi had my back. So nobody actually read my grandfather's article? Did they just pretend it in order to make Uncle Koizumi happy? Yes, most likely. With the meaning of everything I've done up until today. Thought I'd achieved something, but what have I really accomplished? Don't know what's going on, and all I can do is wallow in grief. The more I think about it, the more I no longer understand the meaning of my own life. Didn't Mio Takano, Devote her life to being useful for her grandfather? Then I haven't done anything for him at all. Count 3 with my grandfather, and I go on to count 4. It's a crazy thing to say. No. If I let my mind wander, doubt about myself and my will slip in. So I'm just going to fill the gap in my heart with alcohol. Is that strange to presume the existence of something that can influence human thoughts? It's true that Iwasawa syndrome isn't the actual cause of ideology. The best it can do is drive people mad. Socialism or capitalism don't originate with it. And my grandfather was living. Couldn't talk about the world without ideology. The oracle came from that time and age, so some of his inferences may be exaggerated or biased. But there's no reason to deny its foresight. Can't simply say it's crazy and push it aside. Besides, this important thing they ignore is the fact that Rike Furude, the Queen Carer, holds the fate of the village in her hands. My grandfather had predicted the importance and danger of the Queen Carer since beginning his research on Hinamizawa syndrome. But the hypothesis of the infected community collapsing into madness if the Queen Carer dies is a Pandora's box that can't be proven. It can only be confirmed after Rike Furude's death, and if she dies, it'll be too late. We know where this is going. Kind of going that, really? That's why the plan for why you seriously? There's no mistake that Furude is the Queen Carer in a very special existence. It's clear from the various experiments we perform that she has a special influence on the affected villagers. Her death really could trigger the collapse of the entire village. That's no mistake. My grandfather predicted it. Or my grandfather predicted it. To say all of that sounds like a comic book is just too cruel. Hi, Foxglove. Yep, we're definitely... Yeah. For them to call the various preparations we made to protect our fictional project that was used to tunnel funds. What I'm doing now is simply what my grandfather was going to do. Oh, thank you for the fluid check. Therefore, insulting my research is the same as insulting my grandfather. According to my grandfather's article, first thing that needs to be done when researching the syndrome is to protect the Queen Carrier. And they ridiculed that more than anything else. The more I think about it, the more their words stick in my memory. I can almost hear their voices, and I can't stop myself from covering my ears. I'm sure the members of the board of directors think I'm crazy. I was trying to petition for the Area Institute to not be shut down, but it backfired. The members must think that Himizawa is some kind of joke. I'm sure they'll push even harder now to put a stop to our research. If that happens, I would have to go back to researching as an individual. In other words, the same as what my grandfather did. There's a limit to what an individual can do. It's doubtful if I would ever be able to go back to researching it individually. If the Area Institute is disbanded, everyone is obligated to keep it confidential until we die. I've signed a contract to that extent. That's not just a simple promise. If I were to break it, a special unit like the Mountain Dogs would come after me to ensure I keep everything confidential. Even if that doesn't happen, the Area Institute is to eradicate the syndrome within a few years, and to bury every trace of it, including the results of our research. And this isn't the normal process of research and treatment. They want to pretend nothing ever happened to begin with. I wanted to continue and complete my grandfather's work, but what's happening now will result in the complete opposite. I'm actually helping to eliminate my grandfather's hard-earned research from this world. A treatment has been created already. Although Irie is as passionate as I am about developing a cure, he's not particularly interested in any other aspect of our research. I hate to admit it, but he has more experience and talent than I do. I'm sure he'll come up with a plan for eradicating Hinazawa syndrome within 3 years as requested by the new board of directors. And that board of directors will provide just enough funds to bury the syndrome. Irie will do that happily, Just like the time when you disposed of all the research data on test medicine H170 as was requested. All I can do is passively hinder them, just like they did me while watching the Himizawa syndrome get eradicated. And when everything is over, I'll finally complete an article which is destined to be destroyed. Should I kill myself with thoughts of it in my head, so I can at least present the article to my grandfather? He won't be happy even if I did that. On the contrary, he'll be disappointed in me for throwing the research he spent half of his life on down the drain. He won't embrace me, I know that for sure. I wanted to reveal Himizawa syndrome to the world. I wanted the world to acknowledge my grandfather's masterpiece. I wanted to carve his name in history and promote him to a god. My grandfather waited, believing that day would come. He must be patiently waiting still even after entering his eternal sleep. But I ruined it. I wanted him to become a god. Going to become a god myself, too. Then we'll be together forever, and I'll never have to be alone. If I become a god, God won't test me. There won't be any unhappiness. There won't be a sudden train accident. My grandfather won't go away normal Uncle Koizumi. I'll never have to go back to being alone. I am alone. I have no allies. I was just dancing on ecstasy on a stage without anybody watching. I had only just realized that there was no applause, but only ridicule. No, it's doubtful if there was actually anyone in the audience to begin with. My parents died, my grandfather died, and then Uncle Koizumi died. 3 times had God toyed with me with their rolls of the dice. Thought I overcame each of those trials with my own strength, but I didn't. I was protected by a new guardian each time. This time I have no guardians left to protect me. When I first arrived in Himizawa, I had every intention of challenging God and kicking him off his throne. But now, forget challenging God, I'm just a loser being played with. Suddenly can't find it within myself to care about anything. Because if I cared, I'd be swallowed by sadness. Soaking my heart in alcohol is all I can do to forget about everything. A luxurious black car abruptly stopped next to me. Became sober immediately, as cars like that remind me of the time when I was captured after escaping from the orphanage. Suspicious-looking men in black suits and sunglasses got out of the car. I realized it instantly. They must have been sent by one of my clients. Being involved in the development of a biological weapon, being the main person responsible for it, on top of that being mentally unstable. They obviously don't want me walking around freely. Going to abduct me, seal me in concrete, and erase my existence. Or so I thought. I expected them to grab me and shove me into the car. Surprisingly, they bowed deeply to me instead. Are you the Vice Administrator of the Irie Institute, Major Mio Takano? Normally, yes. I'm just a drunk loser at the moment, though. There is someone who would like to meet with you. Could you please come along with us? Even if I refuse, you're going to take me along anyway, right? I'll be killed anyway. I can't make my grandfather's wish come true even if I live. Cynical thoughts like that ran through my head. And the person in the back seat said, "We won't force you, and I'm sure we can help." I've never met this young woman before. She must be around my age. She knows about the Irie Institute, so she must be somehow connected to my clients. She's too young to be one herself. I bet a client who doesn't want to expose himself sent her. I live, I can't make my grandfather a god. I can't be a god myself either. Who cares about where a loser like me gets killed anyway? I made up my mind and got into the back seat. As soon as I got in, the luxurious car smoothly took off. Oh, sorry. Silence filled the car for a time. They're the ones that invited me. I don't have anything to say myself. Long time no see, though I'm sure you don't remember. We met in passing at Koizumi-sensei's funeral. Oh, we did. Sorry, I don't remember. There's so many people at the funeral. I can't recall any of them. Why is that what she's opening with? Does that mean she belongs to the Koizumi faction? Koizumi-sensei was very active as one of the opinion leaders during the post-war restoration. You can't begin to talk about the way the country is today without mentioning his accomplishments. When we were rebuilding the country from the burnt fields after the war, our nation's supporters were united, but unfortunately it's hard to say that now. As our time of peace grew longer and we started seeing the generation who didn't remember the burnt fields become key national figures, we saw a decline in those who understood the noble intentions we started with. As the final remaining members of those noble men, Koizumi-sensei was the central pillar guiding us into the 21st century. After his death, the Koizumi faction quickly fell. As a result, other factions are extending their influence, leading everything to become quite a mess, right? I heard about those things from Chiro-san. It's really no different from the Sengoku era. When the lord or military leader died back then, the struggle to become a successor brought chaos to the nation. This country hasn't changed for hundreds of years. Exactly. Unfortunately, when we build peaceful Japan into a comfortable place to live, the noble intentions that guided us from the outset have been forgotten. Right now, various factions are fighting in Tokyo over the seat left behind by Koizumi-sensei. If Koizumi and the other deceased servicemen ever found about this, they'd be so disappointed. What does that have to do with me? Aren't you the biggest victim of all this? I think you've had enough experience with sudden shifts in the wind, haven't you? It's true that our research began because of Koizumi's support, and the pressures we face under the anti-Koizumi faction have been tempestuous and cold. And for them, every project that Koizumi will leave behind is an eyesore regardless of what the project is. In other words, it simply means they rejected the research itself, doesn't it? Come to think of it, something like this happened to my grandfather too. Back then, Koizumi brought authorities from various fields to see him. They talked down to my grandfather, despite the praise they'd given earlier. Koizumi told that the masterminds were responsible for that. It's not too much of a stretch to say that your research into the Himizawa syndrome was the #1 leader in terms of funding, organization, and so forth in terms of projects within the Alphabet Project. Therefore, it's been made into a scapegoat by those people who want to monopolize the interests of the project. A scapegoat? What I mean is that your research into the Himizawa syndrome isn't what they rejected. What's important to them isn't the content, but the faction leading the project. I wanted to tell you that today. In the end, I'm just a sacrificial goat put up for everyone to see, huh? Doesn't matter what I research. The thing they care about is that we belong to the Koizumi faction. That's correct. A faction in control is like the direction of the wind. Sometimes it's a tailwind, and sometimes it's a headwind. Fortunately, once the direction changes, it's not easy to turn it back around. So you're saying it won't be easy to bring my hostile clients back? That's correct. The Alphabet Project has been taken over completely. All of the directors have been replaced, and they're only interested in fulfilling their own desires. In the very beginning, they had no intention of listening to your explanation. I grasped my knees, remembering that humiliating day. Let me change the subject for now. What would you consider the objective of your research, Takano-san? That is to fulfill my intellectual curiosity. Isn't it the promise you made with the late Dr. Takano, who looked up to you as your grandfather? Well, that's surprising. Sumi once told me that this fact could become a hindrance, so I've never told any of my clients about it. How did she find out? They know that. Maybe they know a lot more about us than I think. Where did you hear that? Koizumi told me. What? We're not your enemies. Please relax. We're here to help you. I don't know who she really is, but I know she's here because she wants something from me. So what is it that she wants? She knows about the relationship between my grandfather and me, so I can't be careless. In order for us to help you, we need to have you tell us the truth. In other words, we want you to be honest. I don't know what you're trying to say. What is your true purpose in researching Hinamizawa syndrome? To have my grandfather's masterpiece acknowledged for what it is. To have him become a god. Isn't it to have the world acknowledge the late Dr. Takano's research? To get revenge against those who trampled down and looked down on the articles your grandfather wrote with all his heart. I'm reaching the limit of not letting my surprise show on my face. How much does this woman know about me? In the first place, who is she? How does she know everything I'm thinking? I can't admit that out loud in any case. I have appearances to consider. While this elegant woman wearing an angelic smile, she laughed with the devil's seductive whisper several times better at it than I am. A simple smile and a devilish grin are completely different. An ordinary smile means goodwill, but a malicious smirk means the complete opposite. This woman can read my deepest thoughts, and while doing so, she's testing me to see how honest I can be with her. Whether I tell her the truth or not isn't the issue here. She's testing me to see if I can trust her enough to confess everything. If I've completely misunderstood, please forgive me. I'll take you to the nearest train station. That'd be Gogora Station, wouldn't it? Well, on the other hand, if what I'm saying is somewhere close to what you're feeling, I think we can help each other. And what do you think, Mio Takano-san? Can't say anything in reply, but I think simply remaining silent might also be an answer. I want to hear what she wants from me. I always phrased my objective as some vague idea of turning my grandfather into a god. But she's just taught me what my true objective is. I want to get revenge for my grandfather's suffering. I want those people to fight over the right to read the article they once trampled on and mocked. I want them to believe, no, to worship every single word my grandfather left behind. And that is my true objective. This woman has stated out loud that which I have only whispered within myself. She even asked me if she was correct. Is this woman an angel or a devil? If I'm a human, is she in existence above me? Your misfortune was that you didn't understand your true objective. That's why you couldn't achieve anything. You set an abstract goal like uncovering the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome, which could never be achieved, so you couldn't help but to question the meaning of your own life. Isn't that right? That's wrong. Your actual objective, your earnest dream, isn't so abstract. Can you imagine? Just think of this scene. 3 leaders of this nation are reading your grandfather's article. While shocked at its contents, they believe all of it without even a hint of doubt. These people humbly read the article with footprints on its back. They express their respect at the insightfulness of his research and tremble in fear at its implications. And what do you think? Were you able to imagine it? This is my first time envisioning something like this, and yet it's been my dream all along. Your grandfather is the one who named it Hinamizawa syndrome, yes? That name will echo in every corner of this nation and will be carved into eternity. Carved into eternity for all time. Indeed. Your grandfather's masterpiece will be remembered forever. Isn't that the dream you've devoted your whole life to realizing it? Grandfather's masterpiece will be remembered forever. Remembered. Forever. Wait. She's doing the he. Something is up for sure. And yet, those pigs who couldn't understand turned your dream into a sacrifice, simply because of factional conflicts of interest. They're even trying to trample it into the ground. Just like how they kept trampling on your grandfather's article. See? Must be full of regret. The data you've worked so hard for is indeed the same as the article your grandfather did his best to produce. You can't forgive the people who laughed at it. You can't forgive those pigs who ridiculed your grandfather's masterpiece, right? Aren't I right? Oh, I know I am. But you don't think about that because you're so kind as to not know how to condemn people. See? An indescribable emotion is filling me, making me feel like I'm suffocating. The sensation of being cautious and calm, of trust and mistrust are all blending together. My heart is beating fast and my fingertips are shaking. Why am I at peace? It's because she reminded me of my true dream that I couldn't express with my own words until now. It's because she made me aware of the anger within myself. Why am I hesitant? It's because she's reminded me of things I've never told anyone until now. No, those are things that I've never even told myself. Hey, Mio-san, what I'm saying isn't wrong, but it's in fact completely true. I know I can help you with both your dream and revenge. What's the matter? Feeling all right. That's the case, I shouldn't keep you. We'll take you to the nearest station. No. Small noise leaked pathetically out of my mouth, like a child apologizing for some prank. Did you say something? I know she heard me. The wind smiled, trying to make me say it again. It's not it. Doing perfectly fine. I'm glad. Let's continue then. If that is in fact my dream, what can you do? I'll help with both of your vengeances. One is revenge for your grandfather. You'll make those people who ridiculed your grandfather's article humbly take it into their hands once again. The one they violated. The other is revenge against the board of directors for trampling over your research, simply because of their factional conflicts. Revenge against the filthy pigs who tried to stomp on not only your work but your life as well. Getting revenge against the board of directors. By having them read my grandfather's article. I'll be honest with you too. We're helping you because our interests are the same. Can't allow the project that Koizumi established for the sake of Japan's future be eaten up by these lowlifes after his death. If we had more power, we wouldn't have allowed that scum to become involved at all. However, the wind started blowing in a different direction. The project can no longer express Koizumi's ideals. And has become a pigsty for them to satisfy their own desires. Koizumi, who gave them the name Alphabet Project, would not have wished for it to remain this way. The project should have been shut down the minute it deviated from his ideals. So you're trying to make the sacrificial sheep of the factional conflict into a wolf, are you? If you choose to keep your grandfather's article hidden away in your heart, then I won't force you. No, I won't let that happen. I don't mind falling to the ground myself. At least my grandpa's article. Don't you want to make the article that represents you and your grandfather's lives? It is something that will last forever. After all, that's your dream, isn't it? That's right. It's my reason to live. Give you a chance to make your dream come true. The night I decided I was a loser in life and drowned myself in tears and alcohol. After being abandoned by everything, I met someone who could be an angel or a devil. Was this divine salvation or the devil's seduction? Fought with the board of directors regarding the continuation of our research, but that was completely off target. That wasn't my true goal. My objective isn't to continue researching Hinibizawa syndrome. It's to have the world acknowledge my grandfather's research is a masterpiece. Somehow, the method for achieving that swapped places with my objective caused me to misunderstand myself. The purpose of my life isn't to continue my grandfather's research. It's to get revenge, and repay them for my grandfather's suffering. That's what this woman is saying. She's promising to make my grandfather's research eternal. It's also promising an opportunity to take revenge against those who laughed at it. Koizumi died, I thought God was playing dice with my fate. But my unshakable conviction gathered together a power stronger than God's die. So maybe this meeting happened for a reason. Curse you, God, you're testing me again. I'll overcome the death of Uncle Koizumi. I'll make my grandfather an eternal existence by taking revenge against the God who tested me. I will for certain. I'll take my revenge. Okay, I just need to excuse myself for just a moment, just for a couple of minutes. I will be right back. I'll put us on the be right back screen so that way you can have some musics. Hello. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the delay there. Alright. Okay. June 1983. With this, do I have all the pieces lined up for 1983? It was a hard and exhausting job just lining up the pieces for the month of June. Finally, I'm at the start line, beginning from zero at last. Seeing all these colorful fragments together, I realized just how many sentiments were intertwined around June 1983. I used to think that thoughts of people with no relation to me were useless, but I was wrong. Rika Furude did her best to overcome the fate of June 1983. She did two things. One was to get in touch with the Ira Institute, because she knew she would be protected there. Ironically, Takano from the Ira Institute was the one who wanted to kill her, but it was the best move for her at the time. And the other was to ensure that the Maibara family moved to Himizawa. It actually wasn't certain that the Maibara family would move here. They first decided to move here. The father felt something sentimental at the sight of us on the day he came to view the properties for sale. Therefore, it was necessary for us to play in that field. It was the trigger for the Maibara's family's move. It took me so long to find that out, though. Turning various conditions on and off repeatedly, I finally realized that meeting Keiichi's father at the field was the cause. Maibara Keiichi is a very important key for breaking Rule Z, one of the chains that was binding me. He's the fresh air that's powerful enough to break all the old and evil customs in this village. He created many opportunities, but it also provided me with an important clue by letting me know that a strong conviction and will to believe is what's important in standing up against a powerful fate. But I wasn't the only one who wanted him here. People in the Sonozaki family who want to wipe out the nastier traditions of the village also wished for him. Mia vowed herself to protect Satoko and Satoshi, because she was very much bothered by how irrational the treatment of the Haojo family was. On the night Satoshi disappeared, she exploded at Oryo Sonozaki and voiced her true feelings. Oryo understood. Ryo herself had come to understand the wicked customs of the village, been wanting to do something about it. But she didn't have the power to do so herself, so she entrusted it to the fresh air that was blowing in from the outside. That was why the lots went on sale, so the Maibara family could move in. Even if I danced in that field, if Oryo hadn't put the lots on sale, Keiichi couldn't have come. And Reina Ryuku, who provided many important opportunities for Keiichi Maibara, was saved by returning to Himizawa after the deep emotional trauma of her parents' divorce sent her into terminal condition. Keiichi Maibara's wish to restart his life was the same wish Reina Ryuku had a year prior. Maybe that's why Reina was able to understand Keiichi. It's like the miracle where one can recognize moments in a certain fragment from another fragment. If they can use the lessons learned from one fragment, then humans won't make those mistakes. The game pieces will make their best moves. The chances of winning this game of June 1983 will rapidly increase. In other words, Reina Ryugu makes extremely important moves on this game board without realizing it. The mighty Rule Z that surrounded the Haojo siblings. The Haojo siblings was eventually smashed by their actions. Of course, Satoko overcoming herself was also a big help. Their hands met only because they reached from both sides. Keiichi and Reina are the ones who taught me that. Mion is the one who made it possible for them to move here. She also helped them to become familiar with the village. And that's not all. Eri is also an important piece with significant functions of his own. Feeling empathy for Satoko, he is the most influential piece on the board we call Hinamizawa Syndrome. His existence is capable of defeating Rule X. Keiichi and Reina's determination of subsequent awakening taught us that it was possible to fight against Rule X, but they didn't defeat it. Defeating Rule X requires the existence of Irie, who has the strong will to discover a cure for this syndrome. I don't know Irie held this many thoughts within him. I always thought he was rather absent-minded, but he was in fact an important and powerful piece. So if we gather all this power, can we win against Takano's will? I've seen Takano's thoughts too. Sadly, her will is strong and can't be easily broken. It's no wonder our fate in June 1983 has been so hard to shake no matter how hard we fought. The sentiments I've been turning towards it pale in comparison to how many she's brought into it. The weight of our game pieces are different, because I've given up on fighting while she has been risking her life to fight on. I spent time sulking and drinking wine to escape from reality. It must be a very light piece indeed. I can't win against Takano with what I have so far. I need more pieces to be able to win. The officer Oishi once showed the possibility of becoming a strong ally, but he's under the misunderstanding that the Sonozaki family caused the death of his dear friend, so until that gets resolved, he won't be of any help. I don't know how I can resolve that misunderstanding, but I just have to believe in it and keep throwing the die. Just like Keiichi and Reina constitute a chance to change fate. Maybe Akasaka has the power to create a chance as well. The curse of 1983 is tied to the curse of Hinamizawa. The curse can't be broken by inner power alone. It takes power from outside as well. Both sides have reached out, otherwise the hands won't meet, just like what happened with Satoko. But Akasaka has never come to our aid. Even if he did, it was always too late. Too late. Far too late. But if I keep throwing the die, will Akasaka's game piece eventually appear? The final rule, Rule Y, involves the evil masterminds who are using Takano as their own game piece. To defeat them, I need a very strong opponent for her. The one I can think of is none other than Akasaka from the police headquarters in Tokyo. There are more pieces who would lend me their power. I need to gather them all, otherwise I can't win against Takano. Preparations of the game board is complete, but I need more pieces. It's only the beginning. This piece is the only one that's so distorted. It's because it's from long before June 1983. Therefore, the existence of this piece has no effect whatsoever in the game we're playing on this board. But is this really a useless piece? The identity of Rule Y has been completely exposed by now. The backing of a mighty organization, its power enough to swallow up the small solidarity of individuals. I almost give up on this game because of its irrational power. That's why I'm thinking, maybe there's a piece in somewhere that's strong enough to fight against such a formidable enemy. Mamoru Akasaka worked at the police headquarters in Tokyo, and might have the power to stand up to such a vast conspiracy. And his power withstand even Rule Y. Just like Maibara Keiichi defeated Rule Z, will he be able to defeat Rule Y so easily? We need everyone's strength, so Akasaka's strength is needed as well. Okay, wait. I'm gonna have to... Okay, it's just letting us know about... Okay. Himatsu... Okay, yeah, that was when we did meet Akasaka. Okay. Oh, and a Kikuchi, that's the first one, I believe. Yes. In order for Keiichi Maebara to become a game piece that can lead everyone, there's something he has to learn about first. Piece that's very painful, pitiful, and sad. He has to learn about his friends, and he has to learn to not doubt them. He doesn't know the importance of trusting his friends. He doesn't know just yet. Slight mistrust grows into paranoia. Keiichi Maebara is trapped within Rule X. At the end of Rule X, Keiichi leaves a sad note and dies. What may be very bitter and very painful, it also puts him through the process of learning something very important. Hey, Anyu. You didn't have to apologize. A few days he left Himizawa to attend his relative's funeral. Tragically, he experienced an outbreak. But I think this was necessary, as his first step towards learning something important. First step towards smoking out Rule X and eventually defeating it. And this piece was all I had. I didn't even think of that, though. Sumir Horoboshi. Wait, which one is that? Wait, which one is 7? Okay, that was the one where it was, where Reina went to cry. This showed us for the first time what it was possible to poke a hole into the fate of June of 1983. Starts from the conclusion, everything gets taken in by Rule Y at the end, and all our effort is wasted. We challenge the great law that governs this import, Rule X, head on. Using everything we've learned so far from other fragments which prove we can defeat it. We grow by learning. A game with no hope of winning, we can discover a slight chance of victory. This piece taught us that. This game piece, Rule X, was almost completely defeated. Keiichi Maebara and other friends won't be led astray by something as pathetic as the Hinamizawa syndrome and dance in tragedy any longer. It has also taught us that the rules aren't indestructible and are possible to overcome. In other words, it's given us, the ones who are on the outside of the game board, hope. It's an important fragment that serves as our turning point and the trigger for everything else. Do. This game piece reminds us that no matter what happens on the game board, everything is due to the curse, or the Sonozaki family pulling someone's string. To put in my words, this is the piece that makes everyone aware of the existence of Rule Z. Which one was... Okay. Yeah, chapter 2 was Watsunagashi, okay. That's the one where... Well, it's Shion that goes crazy, although we think it's Mion. Because we do it from Keiichi's perspective. To put in my words, this is the piece that makes everyone aware of the existence of Rule Z. It's hard to notice just this piece. This is a complicated fragment where Shion Tsunezaki, while trapped in Rule X and mistaking it for Rule Y, is hurled about, comes to know the existence of Rule Z. This is also the piece that teaches us the rules of the game board. By the way, the piece called Shion Tsunezaki is a piece coming from the outside, from the game's point of view. She dislikes Satoko Hajo at first, but through this and another piece she learns something important. Challenges Rule X and then grows to be a powerful piece to fight Rule Z. The most ridiculous part of this fragment is that it's hidden so cunningly and doesn't seem that way at all, but just a passing glance. Learn from your mistakes. Please become a powerful piece and lend me your strength to defeat my enemies. This is the piece of Shion Tsunezaki who goes mad after being taken in by Rule X. No room for sympathy. This is such a painful piece that one can only have pity. Distinctly identifies the keyhole of the padlock called Rule Z. Keiichi becomes a key himself to pry open this padlock, and as Mion wished for, he becomes a wind that clears out the stagnant air filling the village. This piece also teaches us an important lesson. Shion learns through this piece and then becomes a strong ally for Satoko Hajo. That way, maybe Satoko is a piece that represents the padlock for Rule Z. Unless she is saved, Rule Z can't be defeated. When she is saved, that means Rule Z is defeated. This piece indicates only that. That's the only thing Shion learned by gambling her life. Now, I think it's very important. Every time I see Satoko and Shion argue about pumpkins, I think about that. This piece shows the existence of the unreasonable Rule Z surrounding Satoko. Reveals the most powerful adversary rule on the game board, Rule Y. Can the rules X, Y, and Z be seen now? The enemy we need to fight. Things we need to learn. All are gathered and revealed here in this fragment. At this point, it's impossible to reach Rule Y. Fighting against Rule Z's effect on Satoko is the best that can be done. In this piece, we make a mistake in our approach for fighting it. The outcome we gain through erroneous means is erroneous itself. Keiichi learned that through his own experiences. A tragedy doesn't possess the power to overcome tragedy. Violence doesn't possess the power to overcome violence. If they can grasp that, all the pieces on this game board will learn the true way to fight. But Takano is too powerful. Shocking end of this piece doesn't allow us to learn it that easily. The game piece that uncovers the invisible rule Y that has been pulling the strings from the beginning. Because the impression of that is so strong, it's easy to forget about something very important. We can't forget that this piece also shows the path towards destroying Rule Z. While Rika Furude lamented Rule Z as impossible to defeat, it was hardly a match for Keiichi Maebara and the others once they learned everything they needed to do. They knew the correct way to fight, and fought according to the rules of the game board. As a result, we win, and that fact is more valuable than anything for us. Keiichi taught me a lesson. There's no need to subject ourselves to any fate. The will to believe can defeat anything. Fate that I was subjected to was created by Mio Takano's own conviction. So what he says is correct. To defeat her conviction, we need a stronger conviction of our own. A strong will can be pierced by only another strong will. We defeated rules X and Z and then challenged the final rule, Rule Y, but we needed more pieces. Each piece fought at its best, but the strength of our enemy's pieces led by Mio Takano were just too powerful. She didn't even give us mercy. She squished us completely and made us restart the game all over again. Although we lost, we didn't give up the resolve in our hearts, because we finally found the true culprit. Also found a clue for how to fight against her. We can't win with the pieces we have now. We don't have a powerful enough conviction or a strong enough will. But Hanyu and I will keep trying. We'll roll our dice repeatedly, look for the greatest result, collect pieces and try again. With a will stronger than Takano. Didn't you think of giving up several times before you got to this point? But you made it because you believed in me and followed me here. We're almost there. You can do it. Let's create the last piece. And build the ultimate piece, and we don't need anything else. The very last piece of all. Come on, let's collect the pieces. Let's collect miracles. Please give your hopes, desires, and dreams to me. Last one. After collecting miracles from all 7 fragments, I finally got a hold of this one. This fragment holds our final fate. Before we take a peek, please wait for just a little bit. Fate that's inside will be decided the moment we take a peek. Have I told you about the story of the cat in the box? Is the cat in the box alive or dead? If you open the box, you'll know, but you won't know until you open it. It could be alive and it could be dead. In other words, before you open the box, the living cat and the dead cat simultaneously coexist. The moment you open the box and find out the truth, the incorrect answer disappears. The inside of this fragment is the same principle. The future we desire and the future Takano desires simultaneously coexist. They're opposing and denying each other. Once we take a peek, one of those futures will disappear. If we have enough pieces, we can take a look inside this fragment. But we've only had the same pieces lined up the same way on the game board. The game under the same condition was Takano's complete victory. We've already tried that in the Minagoroshi fragment. We need more pieces. We need the help of a piece that's powerful enough to defeat Rule Y. Until I get a hold of that piece, it's too scary to take a peek inside this fragment. But how do I get such a piece? It's a piece I've never gotten a hold of before. To obtain it, I need to look just one more time. I need one more miracle to obtain that piece. Wait, what? We click on it again? Okay, let's save. Save twice. I'm not sure about this. What is this? I never noticed this tiny little fragment. Sometimes a fragment gets cracked and it breaks. Just like how the fate we believed in cracks sometimes. Damaged fate is no longer the same fate it was. Then which fate does this piece belong to? I picked up the tiny fragment and tried to match it with the fragments I have in my hand. The last fragment I picked up was Imatsubushi fragment. This fragment was distorted from the beginning. Okay, that's the flashback with Akasaka and yeah. And look. See? This tiny piece fits perfectly. This tiny fragment. How will the world change? What kind of miracle will occur? The whole world warped. Since I put the broken piece back where it belonged, the distortion centered on the crack. But that doesn't mean I can't take a peek inside. It's already past 1985. It's a long time after Rika Furude and our friends' stories tragically ended in June 1983. Some mild interference in order crackled through their headsets. All units. The chief has a message for all of you, so listen up. Good work, everyone. Local police have given us 15 minutes to wrap this up, but I'm only giving you a few seconds. Don't let a single person escape. The main target is a diplomat. Don't let him suspect you're a cop, just grab him. But make sure you leave no injuries. It'll lead to problems if you do. They're dirtbags who hide under a diplomatic immunity to deal with the local gangsters. They launder money from drug dealing and force people into sex trade to pay off high-interest debts. Going to the local embassy, some of the victims are younger than teenagers. Shitbags. Normally this would be a simple case, but with the perpetrators being gangsters. When the police found out that a foreign diplomat was involved, things got much more complicated all of a sudden. Diplomats have diplomatic immunity, so the police can't arrest him. But they knew he was an important figure in the whole scheme. There was no doubt that he was the middleman between the foreign criminal organization and the Japanese gangsters. And they couldn't let him escape. It'd be easy to deport him, but that wouldn't solve anything. The police had asked the embassy for assistance, but they denied the requests. The case was put on a standstill at that point. That's when they found out that the organization was going to sell the Defense Forces classified radar and missile technology secrets. The Public Safety Division then had to move on the premise to protect this classified government information. And today was the day that operation was set to go. 2 men at the front stairs, 2 men at the underground entrance, 4 men at the back door. All suspects are believed to be armed. 2 more than usual, huh? It only takes 2 seconds more for him. He never shows any mercy. Can you hear Akasaka? You're on point. Be careful. Okay, let's move. This is Akasaka. I copy. Let's go. Oh my gosh. Akasaka finally has his own sprite. A man suddenly appeared around the corner downtown. It was Akasaka. He displayed none of the naivety that he did when he first met Rika. When he got to the entrance of the underground club, a bouncer with a heavy foreign accent stopped him. This place. Members only. Do you have membership card? Kasaka pulled a card out after being asked. It was a card that was very difficult to forward, so they could only get one. As the man on point, he was the one to receive it. The bouncer let Akasaka in after confirming he had a membership card. Welcome on in, Kemp. Thank you very much for coming by. Yes. Akasaka passed the bouncer at the entrance. He's going down the stairs. Come on, Akasaka. At the bottom of the staircase, there was an overly decorated door like the ones you'd see at a high-class club. The venomous glow of the cocktail lights lit it up, silently warning everyone it was an entrance to a den of evil. Welcome. May I see your membership card? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. I hope you're doing good, yes. The guard at the entrance took the membership card and put it through the card reader on the wall. Beep. An error sound. Slight perspiration could be seen on Akasaka's forehead. The guard swiped the card a couple of times more. Beep. Akasaka is having a problem. Did they change the system? Akasaka's encountering trouble, we'll change plans. Secure his safety pronto. Expression of the guard with them steadily grew dour. His right hand reached inside of his jacket, probably fingering his gun. Ding! The buzzer suddenly rang with a delightful tone, and the card reader flashed a green light. Immediately after that, the lock on the door opened up. Thank you for waiting. Please head on inside. The guard pulled his hand out of his jacket and opened up the heavy door. Loud music and flashing colorful lights spilled out from the inside. Within that, a well-dressed guard appeared to welcome Akasaka. At this moment, his first mission was accomplished. Having acted as the go symbol for the remaining units, Akasaka was also in the dangerous position of being in enemy territory all by himself. The door was the biggest obstacle for their ambush. The door locked automatically, so whenever it was closed, it was also sealed that way. It was a solid door and nearly impossible to open from the outside. Somebody had to not only open that door, but keep it open for several seconds in order for the raid to begin. In order for the Raid Shadow Legend to begin, Akasaka was the only one who could do that. This is Akasaka, entrance secured. Go, go, go! The complex on the other side of the club was getting a new tenant, and there were 2 trucks parked in front of the building. But of course, that was just a disguise. The door to one of the trucks opened, and several dozen plainclothes investigators jumped out. Same thing was happening at the back door, too. The ground-level guards noticed this and began to draw their guns, but they were taken down immediately by nearby investigators who had been pretending to be innocent bystanders. Several dozen investigators quietly went down the underground stairs. These narrow underground stairs were another obstacle to their operation. Everything would end up on the security camera. The raid would become known within a few seconds. For that matter, a push on the security button would make it impossible for the lock to be opened from the outside. That's why they had to secure the door before the ambush. The guards on both sides of Akasaka noticed the loud footsteps coming from the stairs. The well-dressed guards also realized that something was wrong. The guards shifted their attention from Akasaka to the stairs behind him. As they sensed their attention shift, Akasaka took a quick, deep breath and then stopped breathing entirely. The 2 guards standing beside him suddenly rose into the air in strange positions. Akasaka had determined his position relatively to the 2 guards next to him, so he didn't need to check with his eyes. But even so, his fists had been driven into their faces with such precise accuracy. His moves were well-trained ones and showed no mercy against evil. They were as destructive as armor-piercing ammunition. And furthermore, Akasaka had retracted his arms at the same speed he struck. Everything looked so strange in the flashing lights. The man who witnessed all this probably couldn't figure out what just happened. The 2 guards were up in the air in strange positions, and the man who had been standing in front of him was now crouching low. Then that frozen moment shattered. The well-dressed guards were smashed into the ceiling. Shortly afterward, came crashing down onto the floor. Later on, while slurping liquid food, he would desperately try to remember whether it was a fist or a leg that broke his jaw. He would probably never quite recall it. But then luckily, the way his body fell blocked the door, so Akasaka didn't have to hold it open any longer. This is Akasaka. I'm going in. Wait for your backup. Akasaka! The room was filled with loud music, but everyone had already noticed the brouhaha at the entrance. Everyone, get down! Get down! Get down with the sickness! Get down to sickness! As soon as Akasaka bellowed, his warning screams filled the club. Most people immediately hit the floor as if trying to proclaim their innocence. But all the guards reacted quickly to Akasaka. In the midst of all this, there were a few people who were trying to make their escape through the back alongside several guards. Akasaka restarted his breathing once, and then stopped it again, and then ran after them like a wolf. He jumped onto the table, smashing expensive bottles of alcohol and scattering glasses with ice cubes made from the icebergs of the Arctic. A foreign bodyguard whose previous profession must have been a professional boxer thoughtlessly stood in front of Akasaka. With a heavy accent, he tried to taunt his opponent, but Akasaka couldn't have cared less about that. One display that man was able to put on for him was that he was able to block Akasaka's attack, but it wasn't even an effective guard. The power of Akasaka's punches were so incredible that they simply broke the man's bones in his attempt to block them. The man's arm warped in a strange way, and the moment after the agony showed on his face, Akasaka's left arm ground into it. Akasaka, you see, is right-handed. That man should consider himself grateful that he was able to get away with a mere orbital fracture. Thinking that this was his chance, another man attempted to tackle Akasaka-san from behind. He assumed that no matter how strong a man was, he'd go down quickly when attacked from behind. He also assumed that Akasaka was concentrating in front of him. He wouldn't be expecting an attack from behind to begin with. But that would only be true if Akasaka was just concentrating on his front. Indeed, the attacker was very strong, but Akasaka was no longer even thinking about the man before him. Akasaka knew exactly when and what he was about to happen. The experience he has built up to this day taught him that. His body, more than his mind, remembered the timing for when menaces to society like these would make their move from behind him. Akasaka's attack continued fluidly from the left arm punch that he struck against the ex-boxer. His left arm retracted. At the same time, he arched his left leg around beautifully as it crashed into the man approaching him from the front, or from behind. A dull sound signified that his nose has been broken, but Akasaka already knew that. Akasaka continued his motion and directed a decisive right blow to the side of his assailant's head. The man slammed into the wall and bounced off it, rolling on the floor. Akasaka took another breath. The glare of the dancing club lights, the guards realized they were up against a demon. They realized that there was no way to take him down. The guards were being paid to deal with humans, but fighting demons just wasn't in their job description. That moment, backup finally arrived. Maybe finally isn't a suitable word. Everything that happened did so over a matter of seconds. The time it took for Akasaka to take down those 5 guards was a span of merely 2 breaths. Put your hands above your head and get down on the floor. If you resist, we will open fire. Thanks to Akasaka's furious action, the flow of events was already set. Akasaka's intimidating first strike shattered the gang leader's will to run. They were all down on the floor, but one of them began smiling. Shouldn't touch me. Lead to an international incident. Akasaka grabbed him by the collar and threw him against the concrete wall. Aren't you a policeman? I have diplomatic immunity. I'm a diplomat. Good for you. So how much did you get paid, huh? This will be an international incident. I'll be calling the With a dragon-like roar, Akasaka's right fist pounded the wall right next to the diplomat's head. Immediately after that, his left fist pounded the wall on the other side of the head. Soon enough, Akasaka had pounded the wall 7 times, each just a sliver away from the diplomat. His fists were easily powerful enough to crush the man's head. The diplomat crumbled to the floor. This is Akasaka. Target secured. Further investigations discovered a secret getaway route that even public safety didn't know. Dozens of Soviet military-grade machine guns were found. If Akasaka hadn't stopped them there in the club, they would have escaped, or even worse. The operation might have ended with a brutal death toll on both sides. All thanks to how well Akasaka executed his duty, the operation was completed without a single shot fired. Come on, hurry. The local police will be here soon. Put them on the truck. Since the foreign diplomat was involved, they had to make sure it didn't look as though the whole operation was carried out by the police. Indeed, it was made to look like a simple gang war. They would dump the useless gang members and hand over the target to the police. Of course, before handing him over, they'd make sure he spilled everything he knew. That diplomatic pig would be used as a negotiation device by another part of public safety. They found plenty of evidence that said pig was tied to an underground criminal organization. Not wanting a persona non grata on their hands, the embassy would likely cut all ties with him, and the rest would be the business of other departments. Public safety's job was to take care of things regular police couldn't deal with. Akasaka, you okay? Come in, Akasaka. This is Akasaka. We're on our way. You've done it again. Report to the chief to get reamed out later. Akasaka, you sure are a demon. 5 men within mere seconds? It's not even karate anymore. Your fists should be recategorized as lethal weapons. It sure was lucky that none of them drew their guns, though. Knowing how brutal Akasaka is, he could have turned them into honeycombs. Shut up. Don't make me sound like an assassin. I show no mercy against evil, that's all. The pigs he had just caught were no average criminals. They had committed so many unforgivable sins. The strength behind of Akasaka's fists was proportionate to those sins. The heavier their sins, the more powerful his blows would be. Come on, round him up. Akasaka, make them hurry. The local police will get her quick. This is Akasaka. Understood. Didn't you guys hear? Hurry up. Roger. Command, we have 5 injured here. Please have meds ready. There wasn't any trace left of Akasaka's old naivete. He had grown to be the vigilant ace of his department. Akasaka was training inside a dark dojo filled with the smell of sweat and mold. The dojo was located in the middle of downtown in a small building. It wasn't that big, and they weren't that well equipped either. Certainly didn't look like a dojo where a person as skilled as Akasaka would train. There were only 3 or 4 students there, including Akasaka, but this was the dojo he picked. To Akasaka, karate was certainly a weapon for crushing his enemies, but now he was seeking something further from it. To achieve his goal, a dojo with many young students having actual physical lessons wouldn't work. He had gone to so many different dojos, and this was the one he finally settled on. Every time Akasaka punched a sandbag, the heavy thud of his punch and the clang of the sandbag's chain would echo. He wasn't just punching blindly. He thought first, developed those thoughts, and then punch. It was more of a deep and low vibration than a proper sound. Drops of sweat scattered, and the dust swelled up in the air. It was a perfect blow embodying the concept of 1 strike, 1 kill. But he wasn't satisfied. He closed his eyes, controlled his breathing as if trying to hear the cry of cicadas. Then he punched again. From a beginner's perspective, it looks like he was taking breaks between each. The other students training on their own would glance over and sense a fearsome respect at his focused blows. I heard Akasaka works at the police department. Really? Someone like him as a police officer, I don't want to do anything bad. Still, his concentration sure is amazing, and he never gets tired. On his days off, Akasaka came to the dojo in the early morning, and he silently trained all day. His training was no longer physical but mental. The other students were already aware that his continuous concentration was the secret of his strength. However, that was easier said than done. As long as a person lives, they are bound by countless ties and idle thoughts. For a person to submit all his will into such singular focus is more like trying to attain enlightenment than something in the realm of martial arts. Man has tried many different methods to achieve such enlightenment, and what we've learned is that there is no one way to reach it. And a path one takes can reach it if mastered. Karate is what Akasaka chose. The rumors say that his wife is dead. Supposedly he does karate to forget about that. Really? That's different from what I heard. I heard he couldn't save a girl on the job, leading him to realize his weakness or something like that. Hey, I can hear you. Quit talking about other people and train. Yes, sir. There was a small beeping noise. Somebody's watch was letting them know it was noon. Akasaka, we're going to get some lunch. Can we get you something too? Sure. I don't care what you get. Thanks. Akasaka was more pleased to be alone in the dojo than to have anyone bring him lunch. When they left, silence filled the building. Shit. My focus dissipated because they were talking about me. But if that happened because of that bit of small talk, that meant he had much more training to do. He had to train much harder if he wanted to achieve enlightenment. He focused again and started to punch the sandbag, but the sound was a lot lighter than before, and obviously the strength in his fists was no longer there. Realizing that he needed to take a break, Akasaka pulled out a towel from his bag and sat down. Sound of cicadas soaked into his body. The windows were open, but there was no breeze coming in. Still, he could feel the cold air, even if just a little. Just as they said, the reason Akasaka started karate was because of Yukie's death. Of course, losing against the suspect in that kidnapping incident was one reason too. More than that, the pain from Yukie's death was what made him start. Yukie fell down the stairs at the hospital and died while he was on a business trip in Shishibone. He couldn't get rid of that depression, so he started learning karate. But in June 1983, when the Great Hinuizawa disaster occurred, he realized something important. The girl had predicted Yukie's death, and in return she wanted him to help her. Yukie's death was an accident. He could have told himself that there was nothing he could have done. But, as for the girl, Rike Furude's death was different. She knew about her own death 5 years prior. When the disaster occurred, he remembered Oishi and called him to make sure he was okay. Then found out about everything. When he was caught up, he fell into despair. Rike Furude was the turning point in his life. If he had believed what she predicted and did something about it, maybe Yukie wouldn't have had to fall down the stairs. He took the oath to serve the public as a police officer. Yet he didn't even notice the plea for help from a little girl. He shoved aside a conspiracy surrounding her until it was too late. He had 5 years to do something about it, but he didn't do anything and she died. Visiting Hinuizawa for the kidnapping case of the minister's grandson was definitely the turning point in his life. If he had only listened to what that girl said, Yukie would have never died, and he could have been there to help Rike Furude. Those two things continued to haunt him. The investigation into the series of mysterious deaths in Hinuizawa that he heard about from Oishi was put on an indefinite hiatus because of the disaster, but it was apparent to both of them that there was some conspiracy behind it all. To challenge such things, he needed all the strength and experience that he could muster. He was devoting himself to gain such strength, but it was too late. Everything had already ended. While he was stuck in this dilemma, the dojo instructor admonished him. There's nothing one can do about what's already done. So in that case, the only thing he can do is train diligently, so if the same thing is to happen again, he'll be able to save a person in need. It's all too late. Everything is already over. Yukie died in an accident. Hinuizawa was destroyed in the gas disaster. And Rika was murdered as her intestines were ripped out while she was alive. Shit. I was too obsessed with Yukie's death and couldn't hear the girl's pleas for help. No, if I'd listened to her, I could have prevented Yukie's accident too. Damn it. Damn it. Shit. Sakasaka clutched his hair and looked up. He noticed a small shrine overhead that protected the dojo. Akasaka respected both Shinto and Buddhism, but he had never thought of praying to gods in times of despair. For the first time, he felt like praying for help. If it was something he was capable of doing himself, he would have never even considered praying. But as it was something he couldn't resolve on his own, he prayed. It's a very selfish wish. If his wish were to come true, everyone in the whole world would wish for the same thing. Please. Please give me another chance to go back to that time. I swear that this time, I'll save the both of them. At that moment, Kasaka's body suddenly felt very light. No, it's more like he was losing balance, as if he was fainting. Perhaps it was because he shouted so loudly after training that his brain was lacking in oxygen, but he couldn't take his eyes off the shrine. Thank you, Akasaka. We needed your thoughts. Was this a hallucination? Akasaka felt like a stranger was talking to him. We must wish for a miracle, and you must wish for a miracle too. Otherwise, a miracle will never occur. Unless everyone wishes for a miracle, it won't occur. Unless both sides reach out, their hands won't meet in the middle. He didn't know what she was trying to say. Somehow, he felt like he couldn't miss a single word of it. He felt like it was something very, very important. Kasaka, if you wish for it, I'll grant you this miracle, and it'll be a miracle for us too. Joining these broken fragments will give us the chance to create an even greater fragment. Your resolve on its own may greatly influence everyone's fates and intentions. Can you turn back time to that day? No. I can't do that. The thing I can do is to let you notice. Let you notice that things you can't learn from one fragment you can learn from others. So all I have to do is return this broken fragment to where it belongs. That's a big miracle itself, though you probably won't even notice it. Thank you, Akasaka. Thank you for remembering me. I don't even know how much time I've spent asking you for help. Finally, it reached you. So I'll say it one more time. Please help me. No. Please help us. It was long. It really was long. Are you okay? Is your spirit still alive? Do we have all the pieces we want lined up on the game board? Is this everything we have that can go up against Takano and our minions in the Game of Fate in June of 1983? I think maybe we have everything. At last but not least, Hanyu. It's you. The time you have left to be a piece is limited. But that doesn't mean you can't show up in the game. Shall we begin? I put in hundreds of years just for this moment. We finished the fragment section. Or I just got an achievement, so. Someone once suggested that believing is like placing a bet with coins of hope. In other words, believing means taking a risk. You gain something if you win, but you lose something if you fail. As with any gamble, we try to make sure we win and then bet a coin. But as with any gamble, there's no guarantee of victory. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. That's how you increase the number of coins you have. But if you keep losing, you don't want to continue gambling. It's then that you realize that if you don't gamble, you don't have to lose anything. Not gambling on anything is the same as not believing in anything. Not believing in anything is the same as not involving yourself in anything. And not involving yourself in anything is the same as not existing. Therefore, she didn't exist. The one coin she had in her heart was the last one. If she lost it, she'd disappear. So that was why she was hesitating to make a bet. She had been running, trying not to get involved in any type of match, because she was afraid of betting it by accident. I bet this is talking about Hanyu. But just like in a game of poker, she could lose her coin by folding. She tried not to lose her last coin, but that meant she was going to lose it eventually anyway. There was something she didn't know. Actually, I didn't know it at the time either. The more coins bet into the pool, the higher our chances of winning this game. In other words, the more frightened we are, the more we'll keep losing the game before us. It's just like carrying a portable shrine. It's impossible to carry such a heavy thing by oneself. When people put their strength together, they can lift it easily. There's a clear borderline between too heavy to lift and easily lifted. It's just like how the balance in a scale tips with just a little weight. The big heavy shrine before us couldn't be lifted. Everyone tried their hardest to raise it, but couldn't. I didn't help because I was sure it couldn't budge. I didn't participate in games I know I can't win. So I didn't bet my coin. But that was wrong of me. Maybe the portable shrine could have been lifted if I had joined. For the longest time I'd been pretending to be a bystander. I always thought that I was there just to find out if my coin was worth betting or not. But that was wrong. I'm not just an onlooker, nor should I be a bystander. I should have participated. The game I've been facing doesn't look like a game I can win. It doesn't look like a game that's worth betting on. But by betting on it, or by participating in it, and by believing in it, the outcome might change. To gamble on something is the same as to believe in something. To believe in something is the same as to be involved in something. To be involved in something is the same as to exist. Therefore, she existed. Okay, everyone, homeroom is starting. No more chit-chatting. Last rep, go ahead. All rise. Bow. Morning. Sit down. Rattle, rattle, rattle. It's an ordinary morning. The only difference is that it started a little later than usual. Chie Sensei normally arrives in the classroom right away, but she's a little late today. Why was she late for homeroom? The rumors were already stirring about the classroom before she arrived. Chie Sensei gave a cue, and a girl peeked in the room timidly. Oh. This is a new student, Hanyu Furude-san. She's going to be joining us starting today. Wow! Voices of welcome, delight, and surprise all mixed together and filled the classroom. Furude? She related to Rika-chan? Yes, she is. She's my distant relative. That's quite a surprise even to me. Son informed that Rika had relatives. Hey, this old man didn't know either. Well, the three families are rather complicated. I wouldn't be surprised if I had distant relatives myself. She sure does look related to Rika-chan. How? What a cutie! My classmates had gotten excited. The new girl looked rather intimidated by it all. Rika-chan is rather carefree, but this Hanyu seems like the complete opposite. She's more like a shy woodland animal. The exact type that Reina loves. Look, see? Reina is ready to swallow her whole. Okay, Hanyu, please introduce yourself. Settle down, everyone. Go ahead, Hanyu-san. She's freaking appeared. Oh my gosh. Sensei left the podium and encouraged Hanyu to take over. Even greater pressure of the silence left her standing there timidly for a little bit. That's understandable. It's a very nerve-wracking to watch, though. I'm Hanyu Furude. I'm Rika's relative. She's my relative. Please be nice to her. Rika-chan can tell that she's too nervous to introduce herself. She's right to break the silence. Pressuring her like that isn't fair. Which is why I decided to make it more lively. You're called Furude, just like Rika-chan, huh? Now we have two Furudes in this class. Then how about we call her Hanyu-san? Call her Furude-san, Rika might think we're addressing her, don't you think? Generally call each other by our first names here. She's one of us starting today, so we should call her by her first name too. Okay, it's decided. We'll call you Hanyu. I'm Mion Sonozaki, the class president. Call me Mion, okay? Ho, I am Satoko Haojo. Very pleased to meet you, Hanyu-san. Oh, I'm Daiki Tomita. My parents run a tofu shop. Please come by any time. I'm Suguro Okamura. Please ask me if you don't know anything. Hello, let's be friends, okay? What grade are you in? My classmates fell each over to introduce themselves. Everyone tried to get her to remember their names so they could be friends. A friendly atmosphere swelled in the room. I've only just transferred recently myself, but this is exactly how it was on my first day, too. I remember how nervous I was and how much I appreciated this as a result. I know more than anyone how nerve-wracking it is to be a new student. I should look after her. I agree, to help her blend into the class quickly. Right, you were a new student last year, huh? Were you nervous on your first day, too? Yep, but Mi-chan and the others were so nice to me. that I got used to the class pretty quickly. Well, yeah, to welcome a newcomer to the village is one of the three families' important duties. You only mention the three families when it suits your purposes. But it's true that you all helped me get used to such a different environment. In that case, does that mean it's your turn to look after her, Kate-chan? Yeah, I thought so too. Reina was a new student, but she looked after me when I got here. So it's my turn to look after the next new student. A new student always dramatically changes the atmosphere of a class. Even my attitude has changed. We decided to gather around Hanyu during lunch break. So Hanyu's taking part of this. Oh my gosh. I think stuff's gonna get... Okay, I'm really interested now. Though, but, I think we should call it right now, though, actually. Okay. Yes, that was good. Yeah. Y'all worked great tonight. As a reward, I'll do a spicy bean boozle. How about that? I may regret this in a minute, though. Okay, spin the wheel of punishment. I suck at these things. Okay, there we go. Habanero. Okay. So it's not spiciest, but it's not Carolina Reaper, but she'll be quite potent. Mmm. Oh. Oh. I underestimated. Oh god. Oh. 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 Ha ha. Oh gosh. Oh. Oh. Man, that swallowed that. Oh. Oh. Oh gosh, that's spicy. Oh. Oh. I may regret that later. Anyway, thank you all. We'll be continuing for the next thing. That next time. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's spicy. Yeah. Oh gosh. I'll be continuing this stream Higurashi on Sunday. So I hope to see y'all then. Thank you very much for joining us. We all enjoyed it. It's just